Last time we saw the Bulls today, so that's nice in the two campaigns better than a ball. It's a test match, 24 and around it died. Yes, hello there, wherever you're watching in the world, whether it's right here in the UK, whether it's exclusively on Facebook. Welcome to Seat the Side once again in Chester Street, and welcome to Durham Live, of course, the only place you can catch every single second of a nail-biting campaign in the T20 and the One Day Cup as well for Durham, and of course the only place you could have seen that absolute epic against Yorkshire 2 weeks ago. I've only just about recovered from that. Hopefully you have too, because we've got plenty more to offer you this Friday evening from right here in Chester Street, right here in our Daffa News studio. I'm Andy Sixsmith. We're going to have plenty coming up for you, including special guests, including the usual analysis, and a few highlights from that Derby day as well, as we build up to the start of this one. Durham welcoming the Worcestershire Rapids to Chester Street this evening, aiming for a third straight win in the Vitality T20 Blast 2024. But as ever, I don't have to do it alone this evening, thank the Lord, because fresh from his fantastic commentary stint against Yorkshire, we want more of the same tonight, Steve Harmison, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We want more of the same. It was an excellent result against the two big boys, against Yorkshire and Lancashire. Two went down to the wire. It did them a huge amount of confidence going forward, especially if Durham managed to get to the knockout stages, because two big crowds, two pressurised situations, Durham held their nerve and got over the line. So a different challenge in this game, one that I know it's different formats. The Red Ball team lost to Worcester a few days ago in a low scoring event, but Durham will want to get back on the horse, want to get back with winning ways, especially in the white ball game, and get this sort of section of the T20 Blast back up and running, because the last one didn't start that well, if you remember. We lost the first two games at home, and there was a lot of disappointment, didn't get any runs on the board, an injection of a different overseas in David Bellingham, and that seemed to change the sort of momentum shift going forward. But Dorcius came in the last game, did well. Ashton Turner's now fit, so it'll be interesting to see what happens out at the toss. But one, I would imagine in a game that Durham will be looking to hit this sort of section of T20 Blast games running with a victory.
You mentioned that word pressure. How long did it take you to recover from that last full game against
no pressure? No pressure at all when you're up here. Yeah, you're 10 times. You're 10 times. Yeah, I mean, you're the best player in the world when you're sitting up here. So, I mean, you never ever made a mistake when you're sitting here talking. You talk some absolute nonsense, and I'm good at that. But look, when you are in them situations as a player, the confidence it gives you, and obviously as a team, you sing the song at the end of it. You've seen on social media what it means to the lads. But when it comes to further down the line, if Durham get to the quarterfinals, they can go back to that Lancashire moment. They can go back to that Yorkshire moment in front of a big crowd against top players, and they can gain some confidence that they've been in this situation before, and they've smashed it out of the park.
Like you say, it's been an interesting couple of weeks off with the Red Ball game, obviously, such as the nature of cricket. It's back to the county championship for 2 weeks, straight back in the T20. How much of was it a help or a hindrance was the county championship in between, straight after a big win against Yorkshire in the T20?
I don't think it was a hindrance. I think there's a few crossovers of players that went down to Essex, which was a good game for them. They went down there and played very, very well, and they played some good cricket here last week. The wicket flattened out, and it went from nobody looked like scoring a run to Durham not being able to bowl a team out, chasing the biggest total in the game, and that will have dented the confidence a little bit. But when you talk about red ball, white ball, it's two different formats, two different captains, two different sets of overseas players, and a lot of change of personnel. So I don't think there would have been any sort of hangover from the win and euphoria of the Yorkshire game, or also the defeat going into tonight.
Right, well, listen, we're going behind time, so we better press on. And, as ever, we always want to take a look at the conditions. We always want to take a look at the pitch. Harmy's been out there quite a few times this season. And he's got another new reporting partner at the crease this time around. Let's find out who it is.
Another lovely night here in Chester Street in the northeast. No wind, which is great. Sun's nearly coming through, and we're here on match 9, Durham against Worcester. Pitch has just been played on England Women's International against New Zealand, which England's triumphed on. I've got alongside me Neil Colleen and Gordon Mutchell. Muchie, first impressions, what do you think of the surface?
Yeah, it looks as if there's a bit of live grass coverage, so it should go through all right. over to the spin.
Well, you've heard it from two experts. Let's find out what the captains think. These think bat first.
This pitch report and conditions, we'll feedback on that in a second, but as you can see on your screens, the toss has taken place here at Chester Street. And tell you what, Durham are blooming good at the toss this season, aren't they? They've won another one, decided to have a bat as well. You can see Alex Lee's the Durham captain out there in the middle, chewing the fat with the umpires, as well as the Rapids captain as well. So Durham have won the toss. They've decided to have a bat. Meanwhile, back here in the Daffy News studio, I mean, Harmy just picks up different partners every single week. No Scott Borthwick, obviously, to do the pitch report. Instead, he had Gordon Mitchell and making his debut on Durham Live today. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Neil Killeen. How are you doing, Killy? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Is it weird to be in a studio? Not necessarily alongside Harmy, but weird to be in a studio, or not?
It is weird to be in a studio. It's a bit different to being out in the field and out in the sunshine, but it's nice to be here and nice to talk some rubbish with Harmy.
Good at that.
Yeah. Operative word being rubbish there, certainly. But listen, we won't delve into the group chat because I think there were all sorts of terms for you three that were out there in the middle between Muchie, yourself, Killer, and you, Harmy. It had something to do with heads. Anyway.
It was shiny. It looked good up there. It's a good job we're not going out late. The lights were 7:30, 8 o'clock game. It might have been a difficult challenge for Sam, the cameraman, but it's a bit different where you've been now, isn't it? You know, the Caribbean.
Yeah, very different. I've had a few weeks out in the Caribbean for the T20 World Cup, which has been great. A little bit warmer than here, I must say. And some of the pitches that we've experienced out there have been a little bit different as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you didn't bring the tan back, unfortunately. I mean, there's a bit on the arms, isn't bad, so...
Yeah, you kind of avoid the sun in a golf buggy.
Fair enough, fair enough. Listen, we've just heard the toss, obviously. Durham having a bat, we won the toss. Always a good toss to win, but we've done pretty well after winning the toss and deciding to have a bat before, Harmy.
Yeah, they've eventually listened to this new studio. So, no, look, joking aside, I think it is the right call. I think, batting first, getting a score on the board and squeezing, I think that seems to be the way to go with that from the last couple of games from Durham's point of view. That's worked well. They play a lot of spin bowlers. Durham have brought, obviously, Ackerman's back in, which helps. He doesn't always bowl, but it does help. I'm surprised Coggers hasn't played. Paul Coughlin not playing. But the all-rounder and the later, you've got Nathan Souter, who, Coughlin's catch the game before, and then what Nathan Souter did with a catch and the run out, the way he's bowled for me in these blast games has been absolutely brilliant. So with Parkinson, with Souter, with potentially a little bit of Ackerman, if Durham can get a score on the board, the pitch looks a little bit dry in areas, even though it's got a green grass on. They'll fancy themselves to defend whatever they get.
I was going to say, Killer, you've all been down there, had a look at the pitch. In terms of the way that the toss has developed and Durham deciding to have a bat, is that the sort of pitch that's going to play into Durham's hands with the spinners later on or not?
Yeah, I think it will. I think that's the perfect plan. They've won the toss, decided to bat first and really put pressure on Worcester by putting a score on the board. I think the original plan would be to try and use that new ball when they bowl, but then they'll very quickly go to change of pace and bring the spinners into the game and try and use the sideways boundaries. We'll
come on to looking at this game in a second and previewing the Rapids properly, but in terms of the Yorkshire game, what do you think that will do for the players, for the T20 players, certainly, in terms of getting that win here and then being back here 2 weeks later, Ham?
It's a massive win. You looked at the Yorkshire side. The Yorkshire side was filled with some, superstars of the game. Let's be fair. Adam Lyth, who I thought got a raw deal with England, but still, Lyth is a very, very fine short format player as well as a good red ball player. David Milan was the best player in the world at T20 format. Not just domestically, internationally. And along with Sean Masood and probably the greatest player that England ever produced in Joe Root, that was a formidable top four. So for Durham to get over the line and win that game, that was huge for me. So going into this game, it's been a while, but I think the formula that worked during that game, I think they'll quickly get back to it tonight, and I think that will be the case of Clark and Lees at the top. I think Graham Clark seems to be better when he's got the game. He's not got a run chase. He's not got the worry of the scoreboard. Just go out and hit the ball, see the ball, hit the ball, and I think he's a better front runner than that in that aspect, and maybe he's chasing the game. And him and Leesy have been very, very good for Durham at the top of the order. So hopefully that continues tonight.
And I imagine, Killer, we were talking about it just before with Harmy. The county championship is obviously, punctuated in between the T20 games, but there will still be that buzz around the dressing room following the Derby Day win, and the lads will just be excited to get back out there with the white ball tonight, won't they?
Yeah, without a doubt. And look, they're in a great position as well. They've got some big games ahead of them, but they stand in a really good position to make the next stage of the competition. Yeah. And I think having those games, one's just given them a little bit of a breather to then sit back and reflect on that win, but there'll be a big excitement about getting back out there tonight. And
as you can see, the standings are right there on your screen as it stands. I mean, it is so tight. You've got 3 teams there on 9 points. Obviously, Durham just behind Northants, Leicestershire. Lancashire a further point ahead. Birmingham 2 points clear at the top. I mean, that's exactly what we want as cricket fans, isn't it? To all be bunched up together like that, Harmy?
Yeah, absolutely. The player, obviously, they've got the Rapids tonight. Northampton to come. And I think in two weeks' time, Thursday, I think a Thursday night down at Headingley, and that could be a massive game in respect to the group. So it's a good game tonight. Worcester, I'll be confident that they've been up here for a few days and have enjoyed themselves off the back of the win. They'll bounce into tonight's game, so it'll be important that Durham start well. If they can get a win tonight with what's to come, they've got the Steelbacks to play and Yorkshire to play, 2 teams either side of them. Yeah. When it comes to the table, when you get into the nitty-gritty, you want to play teams around you because that has a bigger effect on the group. Because obviously if you get a win, then you knock them down 2 points as much as you go. So from that point of view, I think the next 3 or 4, the next 3 games for Durham are good ones for them to come, especially going into confidence of beating Yorkshire and Lancashire.
And without trying to, predict things yet, we will predict things or try and predict things a little bit later. A win could take us into that top 4, into those qualifying spots. What does that do for the mentality of the lads, Killer, would you say?
If you get that win, and again, you're getting a win on the board when other teams aren't playing as well, so it gives you the point advantage, but it gives you that momentum, and winning becomes a habit. Yeah. So once you start to win, Durham obviously have won games before this. Once you keep that roll going, it stands them in really good stead for those games, and the games then come thick and fast as well. Yeah. I think they've got 3 in the space of 4 days next week, so that's going to be a really important time. So to get wins now going into that phase will be a really big important part.
And like we say, one of the main competitors alongside Durham for a top 4 qualifying berth will be the Yorkshire Vikings, who we beat 2 weeks ago on Derby Day. And if by any chance somehow you missed that game, either live or here on Durham Live, shame on you, first and foremost, but don't worry, don't fear, we've got you covered. Here are some fine highlights from a Derby Day win 2 weeks ago.
Best comes in again, and this has fallen right in the slot, shot. And it is drop kick straight over. I haven't used that term so far today, the drop kick.
Great shot.
That's hit over mid-off. It's very
for the Yorkshire Vikings. Clark gives himself some room, opens up that offside, and this time Thompson follows him. And George Hill, I think it is, down on the...
Just pushed it for 4.
Just managed...
For 20-odd years over that. Ollie Robinson picks it up, and he has got for 6.
Goal ball, yes.
Had every confidence in that one, clearing the rope.
I think the winds are going that way as well, Dobby.
Absolutely right.
2 unhappy.
Clark pulls this one away out into the deep. And do you know what? He got a lot more of that than I thought. On his length, and it slapped over his head. And he'll pick up another boundary there. Buster.
Batten this. Great batten.
Will Jones on strike, and he gets length, and he doesn't have to worry about the fielders this time, and the members, if they want to, can throw it back. If not, they can maybe throw a chip with a bit of tomato sauce on Scotty, because that's sick. And Bettingham inside out, beats mid-off, and gets a boundary straight back over the bowler's head. Side tonight, Dorsh's across his stumps, and he slaps this one away, and he times that one again.
What a shot that is.
Scotty Borthwick's
reaction to me.
Yeah. Well, Geordie Drizzle is in, and it's a slap to cover, and a
my God,
catch by the skipper.
Very, very good by the Vikings. Oh, we got an outside edge, and that's it. What a wicket this is for Ben Wren. An inside edge and an excellent catch from Ollie Robinson. Sees the back of Joe Root in player. This time gone for the big shot, straight up in the air. Souther goes chasing after it. He's underneath it. What a catch! What a catch! What a fantastic catch that is from Nathan Souther. We've seen something special last week. National recognition. Flow, full toss, clothed into mid-wicket. I don't think this is going to carry. Oh, he's thrown it at the wrong end. Oh, what a shot! Oh, Nathan Souther, you beauty! Oh my word, not only does he run
as fast as he can and take a dive and catch. He runs as fast as he can and throws the stumps down from 40 yards. This is 4 off the last ball. Hill's gone for the reverse sweep and he's missed it. Oh, Durham win by 4 runs in a contest which I think has been a brilliant game of cricket. See by the emotion of the players, really are together.
Yeah, drink it in. Fantastic celebrations here at the Seat Unique Riverside in Chester Street a couple of weeks ago. But that was Derby Day. That's in the past now. We're focused on this huge game against bottom of the table Worcestershire Rapids here in Chester Street. And that is the Durham starting 11 that you can see on your screens. A return for Colin Ackerman, Ashton Turner in there as well. No David Beddingham after picking up an injury in the county championship. We're still here with Harmy and Killer. Harmy, thoughts on that starting 11 for Durham?
Yeah, it's a strong team. Beddingham would be interesting to see because obviously Ashton Turner's fit. What would happen? Whether Dorcius would miss out, but that's taken out of their hands. Worcester, again, they've had their overseas injured as well, so they haven't got the luxury of having a replacement for Nathan Smith. But that's a good, strong side. They're going to be pace off. What you're going to see tonight is pace off. Maybe it's an over or 2 overs with seam where, see if they can get the ball to swing, but the rest of it, both sides will take pace off. So it's a strong Durham side. The bat a long way down, very athletic, as we've seen so far in the field. But Durham will fancy their chances to beat the Rapids, who are lying bottom of the log.
A strong Durham side, but any side in T20 competition, any form of a game, will miss a player like David Beddingham, won't they, Killer, in the form that he's been in this season?
Oh, without a doubt. He's been in tremendous form all season, and I think the way that he's come into this T20 competition once he got his opportunity has really stood out. So he's going to be a miss, but they've obviously brought Ashton Turner back in, who not only for his batting, but I think he may play a part with the ball tonight on that pitch as well. And it's going to be really interesting to see within the power play how quickly they go to spin.
I think it's been interesting this season, hasn't it? Because a lot of the focus has been on David Beddingham and how well he's done, etc. Graham Clark's had some fantastic innings. I know we talked about him pre-Yorkshire, but then he delivered again against Yorkshire. It's been really interesting to see him this season, like you were saying, Harmy, as well. He's got an ideal opportunity again tonight, not chasing an opening.
Yeah, I think it's better when Graham goes out there first up and he just sees the game for what it is right in front of himself. I think that tells it stat there. He's not what you would say the household name from. I mean, you look at the likes of Alex Lee's played for England, Berry played for South Africa, Turner, the overseas players, Ollie Robinson on the verge of potentially playing for England. Yeah. He just slipped under the radar, and he had like a sliding doors moment when Durham lost their second game, and when they lost their second game, he ran Ashton Turner out, and we sat here and we're like, ooh, where does it mentality go for Graham Clark? Yeah. Is he going to struggle? Is he going to go into his shell? Is it going to affect his batting? It's actually, this is the brilliant thing about what Graham's done. Yeah. His mentality shift has just gone the other way, and he's not looked back since that moment. So even though they've lost the game, he's won 2 or 3 others since then, not by himself, but heavily contributing. Yeah. And that, from a coach's point of view, a mentality of a player like that is, it's a massive tick in the box.
It's a pile of runs to accumulate in T20. I mean, only 8 games in as well. He's not done bad. Let's turn our attention to the bowling, though, Killer. We'll talk about Ben Dorcius in a second, but there you just saw on the graphic, Ben Rain, leading wicket taker with 12. How impressive has he been in the T20 this season?
Look, Ben's been very impressive, but it's no surprise. He's done this for a number of years now, and it's been no surprise that off the back of the last 2 T20 tournaments, he got picked up as a wild card in the 100. Probably missed out this year. I know there was a lot of teams talking about him, but he's done brilliantly. What Ben does really well is he recognises the situation and recognises the surface that he's playing on, and he changes his pace brilliantly, and he gets the ball right up there at the death as well. So he's very skillful, very sort of great bowler with sort of the thoughts that he puts into it, and I think that's his biggest strength is how he thinks about the game of cricket.
I think the good thing about Ben Rain is that what you'd say in a football term, he never hides. No matter whatever day he's having, he always wants to be in the situation of pressure. Yeah. And that for me is, in 2020 cricket, that's so invaluable as a player, because for a fact 2 overs to go from one end, Ben Rain will nail it. He will nail it, and he will not so much. He will not panic. He'll not be overawed by it. He'll not be worrying about what if it goes wrong. He will stand there and go, "This is my chance. This is my challenge." He sticks his chest out and does it, and that for me is why he's got the wickets he's got.
Great player to have in the team as well from that perspective, from a mentality perspective. Talking on the death ball, and obviously Ben Dorcius bowled that last over against Yorkshire, Killer. Talk us through what he would have been feeling during that last over and the skill that it takes when it comes down to bowling the very last over of a match?
I mean, the real skill that you've got to have as a death bowler is you've got to have clarity of thought.
Yeah.
You've got to be stood at the top of your mark, knowing exactly what delivery you're going to bowl, knowing you've got the right field for that delivery, and then being confident enough to deliver.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did in that last over. You look at the plan that he had. We've already talked about it tonight, about trying to get the ball to go sideways on this pitch. He looked to hit the wide line right up there on the crease, and he absolutely nailed his Yorkers. And that's what he does really well. As a left armer going across the batsman, it's really hard to hit that anywhere.
Well, hopefully he's not needed necessarily tonight, and hopefully the drama is minimal, because I don't think our hearts can take it here in the Daft News studio on Durham Live tonight. Anyway, before we do have a little change up in our punditry studio, because Killer, Harmy, you're heading off for comms. We're going to bring 2 new pundits in to take us through the start of this one, Durham against the Worcestershire Rapids. But before we do, let's hear from the head coach Ryan Campbell, who spoke to Durham Live after that win over Yorkshire.
I reflect on it, I guess, firstly as a spectator, and think what a game of cricket that was. And then as a coach, I think I look at it and go, well, probably didn't have any right to win that in the end. But overall, just again shows that this team is learning how to play the game. I thought we constructed our innings really nicely, and I actually thought we were a little bit over the past score. But again, we made some mistakes in our bowling department, but you know, they were 100 after 10 overs. You're probably gone by then. But what I love about this group of players, they never put the white flag up. Nathan Souter didn't start so well, but then 2 unbelievable pieces of fielding. Ben Dwarshuis did 2 really tough overs in the power play for us, and then came back and bowled 2 unbelievable overs at the end. And you know, there was little things. You know, the Alex Lee's catch when Driz had gone for boundaries off his first couple of balls in the power play, and to get Milan out, it's a massive wicket. So there was a lot of individual brilliance in that win, but collectively, and I know I've just rattled on a bit, but I couldn't be more proud of this group.
Half time, what did you say after we posted 170?
I thought we were above par. I thought that, you know, we had to get the balance right between the pace on, pace off for the medium paces and the quicks, and then the spinners had to find the right length. I thought it was, you know, it just set up a little bit if you were a fraction short. And, you know, in the end of the day, Yorkshire batted those first 10 overs unbelievably well. It's kind of, you're thinking, gee, where do we go here? But like I say, at this ground, if you can just get a couple of wickets, you never feel quite out of the contest if you're defending. And, you know, we pride ourselves on being a very good defending team.
Head coach Ryan Campbell catching up with Sam Blacklock there after that fantastic Derby Day win against Yorkshire, but it's all attentions on tonight. The Worcestershire Rapids are the visitors to Chester Street, and like I said, there has been a little bit of a change at the crease here in the Durham Live scenario in the Daft News studio. We bring in Mr. Simon Brown, and we bring in a bloke who, let's be honest, spent half the Yorkshire game watching through your fingers and the rest of it being ripped about the size of your head, Muchie.
Yeah, it's great to be back. There's been no change there. No, obviously, brilliant win for the lads. Gone away and played some championship cricket and probably bossed the game for 3 days in both of them and just not managed to get away with the spoils. But hopefully we'll turn around again tonight and have another epic.
I was going to say, cracking to be back in the wonders of white ball cricket, certainly. We were looking at the table before, weren't we, Simon? And we're seeing Durham there just outside the top 4, obviously 3 teams on 9 points. It's shaping up to be an absolutely cracking culmination of a T20 qualifier, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's incredibly tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned earlier on the fact that Durham have managed to get over the line in some tight games and come out on the right side of it. Killer mentioned it earlier on, winning becomes a habit, and managing to win tight games like that becomes a habit as well. And once you've done it, you have that experience. It's really difficult getting the first one over the line.
Yeah. Is there a feeling then, Much? They're just starting to settle at home, Durham, now?
Yes, I think that's it. And we have, obviously, Benningham's out and Turner's come in, so there's a small change, but I think we've got settled team with clear roles. And just looking at sort of the Worcester last few games, they've chopped and changed. The opening batters have changed a few times, so they're a little bit coming in this not as well organised as we are. So hopefully we can catch them while they're still cold and get another win under our belts.
I know a lot of our focus will be on Durham, but we need to look at the Rapids because they started off quite well. 2 wins out their opening 3, but it's 5 losses on the spin now. Does that affect a team in T20, or does it come around so quickly, Simon, do you think, that actually they'll think, you know what, this is just another opportunity for us?
It's interesting. I think sometimes going back to winning being a habit, losing becomes a habit as well. You get into good positions, and unfortunately you manage to sort of throw things away. And you can also, as the season goes on, it's such a long season, you can just get into the habit of thinking, to be honest, let's just get this competition out of the way and focus on the red ball stuff again. So, particularly when the team's changed a lot as well. So there might be an element of that. But, you know, this is a professional team. They'll be tough to beat.
Okay. How does it go tonight then? What do you reckon?
Well, like you say, I think they've lost 3 games off the last ball.
Yeah.
So for my heart rate, I hope it doesn't come down the last ball. But I think a Durham winning the last over will take. I keep the crowd entertained for the whole 40 overs.
We've got the paramedics on standby outside, mate. Don't you worry about that, just in case anyone tries to take a catch like Paul Coughlin at the very, very least, let alone your heart rate. Simon, final word to you. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I would say that Durham are strong favourites in this one. I just think that I think we're going to be a little bit too strong.
Positivity in the Daffy News studio then. Will it be a positive result for Durham, and will they claim their 3rd straight win in the Vitality T20 Blast 2024? Let's find out as the 2 teams take to the field, and let's hand you over to your commentary team of Neil Killeen and, of course, first, Mr. Steve Harmison.
Yeah, welcome to the Seat Unique Riverside here at Chesley Street in Durham. Durham versus the Worcestershire Rapids. Durham's last game was the game we've been talking about, the 3-run victory over Yorkshire. The last time the Rapids played, they lost by 5 wickets to the Birmingham Bears. Both teams have made 2 changes in this game. Durham have gone and won the toss and decided to bat first, so it's Lees, Clark, Turner, Robinson, Deleda, Michael Jones, Ben Rain, Dorcius, Ackerman, Parkinson and Nathan Souter. That will be the home side, and off the back of a fantastic win in the red ball game here not just 3 days ago, Worcester, well, some of them will come in with a little bit of confidence. Kashif Ali will open the batting. Ed Pollock, Josh Cobb, Adam House is the captain. He's not. Brett D'Oliveira's captain. Adam House played the last game because Brett D'Oliveira was injured in the last game. Ethan Brooks, Matt Wade, Gareth Broderick, Tom Taylor, Hayden Walsh Jr. and Adam Finch is the Worcester Rapids side. First ball goes to Matthew Wade. Came to Worcester on loan from Yorkshire halfway through last season. He had an excellent end to the season. Worcester signed him on a 2-year contract off the back of that. As Clark and Lees for Durham are the 2 opening batters. Clark on strike, Wade with the first ball. It's wide, outside off stump, and Clark, I think there's a little fingertip to it, but not enough to get it to the boundary, and Durham are off and running, and a trademark shot outside off stump for Graham Clark, and powerful through the offside for 4 runs as Neil Killeen makes his debut in the Daffy News commentary studio. Killer, fresh from the Caribbean. It's a bit different to being in, well, I'll say it's a bit different. It's only temperature different. The pitches weren't very good over there, so we're expecting a little bit of a better pitch in this game. Again, this one straight. Oh, big shout. Ball goes into the offside. But Steve O'Shaughnessy, the former Lancashire batter, says no to the LBW. Points to his knee for the leg by, and another single to Durham.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different type of fresh when we've come in here, Stephen. It's a little bit colder than what it has been for the last few weeks, but nice to be home and nice to get some fresh air and be back here watching the lads playing at home.
Come on to the job that you've got now and what took you away from Durham. 30 years at this club. It's a mammoth stint that you had here. I was going to say you lost all your hair, but you didn't have any when you more or less came here when you were 12-year-old. So Finch in again. This time Lee's bounce. Nice area from Finch. He hits the deck hard. Not a tall man as Matt Wade. Sorry, he's not a tall man. He bustles into the crease. He hits the deck hard. Not a huge amount of pace. Late 70s. But he hits the deck that hard. If there's anything there, you'll get it.
Yeah, he does. And there's a little bit of live grass on this pitch as well. So I think what we'll see, he'll try and hit the pitch hard with this new ball. There was a little bit of shape there, first ball, the one that Graham Clark hit through the covers. So he'll try and exploit that if he can.
This time Lee's trying again, give himself some width. He does that a lot, does Adam Lees. He does naturally give himself some width, but I think that just decked away a little bit.
Yeah, I think you just see Leesy gesturing that's just nipped away off the seam, which, I mean, Riverside's always had that in it here, and it's always been good to bowl with a new white ball on this, but over recent times it's been a little bit flatter, but these pitches seem to have a little bit more grass on, which is encouraging the bowlers to try and hit that rope.
Yeah, if you hit the pitch hard, there's always something there for you. This time down the crease, down out of his crease, and lovely through the offside. Met with a flat bat. Fielder Brett D'Oliveira, captain of Worcester Rapids, extra cover in a catching position. Went in the air, but he wasn't catching that.
Yeah, Alex Lees has just used his feet there just to try and take the movement out of the ball. And I think that's a really good ploy on pitches like this. Get down to the pitch of the ball and try and exploit that.
Is it a case for the keeper to come up, or is it with the new ball, is it doing too much and you think, hedge your bets and the gamble to possibly just steer back? Slip in play. Lees down the crease again, this time more of a straighter bat. Hits straight to Brett D'Oliveira, who's quickly in and end of the first over. And good start from Durham. 9 without loss off the first over. And 4 apiece for Lees and Clark. So the Caribbean kill. It was a good trip. A trip which, we talk about the role. You're bowling coach of England. You left Durham, went to be the bowling coach of England. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of what happened in England, but that white ball side that England have got, they're probably coming to the end of some of the generation, but to work with players who were fantastic World Cup winners, it must have been a great experience.
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I mean, to go out there, I did the Pakistan series at home first, and then went out to the World Cup, and it was certainly a great experience to work with those lads out there.
Tom Taylor is the bowler who comes in. Deep point, Hayden Walsh Jr. Speaking of Caribbean, wrist spinner from the Caribbean is out on the deep point boundary for Graham Clark. No point in, and he just pushed it into the offside.
Yeah, I think we can see here that they're already trying to utilise sort of the square boundaries by having a split field, one out either side, and they'll be looking to potentially use the short ball if they keep using that advance and use their feet. Yeah,
remember, 2 men outside the 30-metre circle for the first 6 overs. To Lees at deep square and at deep point. Taylor's in again. This time Lees just flicks it to the leg side. Easy pierced. No real mystery to Taylor. A nice run up, smooth action. He's looking to hit the deck, not trying to give them any width, not trying to see if it was swing either. He's brought his length right back.
Yeah, he has, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually trying to roll his fingers over the ball a little bit and ball cutters, or at least wobble seam on this sort of pitch, trying to just get it to nip off the surface and cause the batsman trouble.
Clark, who's been in very, very good form, 258 runs so far from his 8 innings in the blast. Okay, just trying to ease it onto the leg side, but if anything, just as you're saying there, he's just run his fingers across it, and it's just held in length and held in line as well.
Yeah, I think certainly at the start for the batsmen out there, it's going to be a case of trying to play with as much of a straight bat as you can. If the ball's nipping around like it looks like it is, trying to play square of the wicket is going to be pretty treacherous. Yeah,
we've had 9 balls so far, and his first slipper has been Ed Pollock, has been comfortably in play, and he's not one thought of the captain or either bowler to remove first slip. So that's telling you there is something in this surface for the brand new ball, this time width. I don't think Graham Clark believed his eyes there. He's tried to hit that just a little bit too hard and lost his shape, touch. And who else have we got on show from a bowling point of view? Somebody like Adam Finch.
Yeah, Adam Finch is somebody who I've had a little bit to do with over the past few years. I actually took him to the Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand, and where we managed to make the semi-finals. And he's a really good lad, strong bowler who bowls good pace. He's pushed it well up above mid-80s this year at times, took wickets and really impressed throughout the summer, and he's somebody that I certainly think we should watch out for in the future.
Very good. Taylor in again. This time Lee stands still. High backlift, expecting that ball just on the back of a length to bounce. Good bit of field in there. And you talk about Finch's pace. Do you bring him into the power play, or do you keep him for just outside the power play?
It may be that he bowls potentially the 6th over of the power play, but personally I'd be tempted to use him through that middle period once we get the field out square and exploit a little bit of short pitch ball and looking to make things happen and hit the ball square.
That's ball the over. 4 off the over so far. Good one from the Rapids. This time a little bit fuller, and this time push straight through mid-wicket. Again, a lovely shot from Graham Clark. Trademark down the ground in the sort of V. That's the way Graham Clark plays. And his heart might have been in his mouth a touch there, but Brett D'Oliveira at mid-wicket was never really in the game of catching that. And what was a good positive over. First 5 balls for Taylor. Ends with a boundary, and Durham move on to 17 off the first 2 overs. And a good start from Durham, Kill.
Yeah, it's been a great start. They've certainly put the bad ball away. But not only that, they've looked to put the pressure back onto the bowling team. They've used their feet well. Whenever the bowling sides missed their length, they've capitalised on it and hit the ball for 4. We're now seeing spin coming into the game very early on, which we kind of expected. So it's going to be interesting to see how the pitch reacts to the spin.
Yeah, and it's not the spin that probably you were expecting. Josh Cobb, hard-hitting top-order batter from, he made his name at Northampton, moved down to Worcester. There was a lot of people thought high things of Josh Cobb in the early part of his career. He's not one that bowls a huge amount, but he's going to bowl a 3rd over of this innings to Alex Lees. Lees straight away a reverse sweep. He's quite got enough on it. Just managed to get it down to 3rd for a single. Yeah, Cobb, it's an interesting one they've gone with Cobb and not one of their...
Yeah, I think that the attraction of Cobb is obviously to the left-hander.
Yeah.
And with Alex Lees being on strike there, they've maybe thought, well, we'll try and squeeze a few balls out to the left-hander with a bit of off-spin. The danger now is to Graham Clark hitting to this short corner with the wind.
Yeah, it is a short corner, and it is with the wind. Not as strong as what the Lancashire game was, and that's an excellent shot down the ground. Didn't quite time it as well as he would probably want, Graham Clark. Look at the field. The fielder was a touch wider, trying to protect that boundary. 2 fielders on the leg side to Clark, both on the leg side corner, and it is a short area. It looks as though the ground's not. Again, that's a lovely shot from 6 runs from Alex Lees. He's just picked that up just outside off stump. Killer mentioned about the matchups, the off-spinner to the left-hander, but if the left-hander gets anything outside off stump in that sort of length, he's definitely his eyes are definitely going to light up, and with a big gap on that leg side, that was a free hit, really.
Yeah, he's not a huge spinner of the ball either, so no. I think he's just playing it, using the pace on the ball.
This time chipped into the leg side. Difficult fielding there from Adam Howes, but he managed to deal with it comfortably. He's doing the boundary riding job along with Hayden Walsh Jr. And good start of the from Durham towards the spin bowler inside the power play. This time harder down the ground, timed a little bit better. It's at 10 off the over so far.
I think you might see Alex Lees try and target that corner again here with this ball.
Need some width. Will he go a little bit tighter? And he's looking into that leg side. 2 is the call. Not sure Leesy has sprinted that first one very well. He's comfortable taking strike. He feels as though he's the man in charge at this moment in time, and he's right. 15 off 10 balls so far. Clark's got 12 off 8. Durham at the end of the 3rd over, a 28 for none. And a good positive start. This is about 3 or 4 times now Durham have been, like 30 off the first 3 overs. Once, I think there was one game. Was it the Birmingham game? We were sitting here very, very positively. 30 for none off 3, and then I think it was 33 for 4 by the time the end of my commentary stint. So I'm not going to put the mockers on them too much, but they did start. They have started quite well, these two, in this T20 blast so far. Lees and Clark has been the engine room for why Durham have had success of getting off to decent start. So Adam Finch comes into the attack. Neil Killeen talked about his pace. He's definitely tall. A big lad. Hit the deck, and that time he's gone that little bit fuller, and Alex Lees will be disappointed he didn't put that away, because that was a half volley.
Yeah, he's missed out there, and I think that's certainly not the length that Adam Finch will want to be bowling on this pitch. We've already seen that if you hit that live grass, which seems to be probably around about the sort of 6 metre mark, I reckon, where that's caused the problems, and I think if he keeps bowling full, he might get punished.
Yeah, you want to drag his length back. He's a tall man, gets everything out of himself, and this time there's a little bit of width
He got it to that 6 metre mark, but unfortunately he got it a touch wider, and dive from Lees gets him in. I thought he was comfortable at one point, and then he had to get a bit of a spurt on.
Yeah, I think Adam Finch...
Clarkey would have get in there, not a problem, and Leesy just got himself a little bit in quicksand for a second. And
yeah, there's a little bit difference in pace, but he's got there comfortably in the end. But I think Adam Finch actually took the pace off there by the looks of that ball as well. He looked like that was a cutter, and I think already they're recognising that the pace on this pitch is not the way to go.
No, not as a stock delivery, but it could be a wicket-taking delivery. The height and the bounce that Adam Finch has got. If he is taking pace off and he gets it in the right area and creates some pressure, the actual quicker ball, whether it's a short ball or a fuller ball, might just slip one through. This time he's gone pace on, given width to Lees, and excellent shot through that sort of wide extra cover area, and the dive in vain, unfortunately, for the Worcester Rapids, and Durham pick up another boundary.
Yeah, I think the left-hander hitting towards his short side with the wind is kind of just putting him off a little bit here, and he's kind of pushing it a little bit too full out towards the other side. I think he's just got to find his length here and settle into hitting a hard length and try and hit that variable bounce.
It looks as though he's just not quite finishing his action off to the left-hander. He's putting it there rather than bowling it there. This time, that's a better delivery, better length. It looked as though he had a little bit more on it as well. Lees just clips it into the leg side.
Yeah, I think the two batters here have recognised that pace on the ball is what they're going to go at.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for anything that is in sort of their half as such, and they're going to try and capitalise on it. I think Graham Clark will look to go down the ground as well if he gets a chance here.
Yeah, good start from Durham. 9.6 off the 3.4 overs that we've had so far. 7 off the first 4 balls of Finch's over. Inside the power play, short ball, top edged. And it's a 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 4 from Graham Clark. The surprise ball was the short ball, but unfortunately, fine leg inside the circle. And Graham Clark just had to get something on that. And the pace that was on the ball from Adam Finch was always going to take it towards the boundary.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a risk-reward ball, that one. It's he has done him a little bit for pace there, and he's got a top edge on the ball, but with fine leg up in the circle, it's always going to be a risk that doesn't go exactly where you want it.
Not only is fine leg up in the circle, but the man on the leg side outside the circle is in front of square on the leg side. This time, Pearce off it, heading towards that man, but in vain, and that is another boundary for Durham. An excellent over from the Durham side inside the power play. 4 overs gone. 43 is the score, with Clark on 20 off his 10 balls faced. Lees has got 22 off 14. And a little bit of head scratching at this moment from Brett D'Oliveira.
Yeah, I think that's a disappointing over from Adam Finch, and he'd be disappointed with not only his lengths there, but also the lines that he delivered it on.
Yeah.
It was to the Alex Lees, the left-hander, he got a little bit too far outside off stump, and then to Graham Clark, he's got way too straight. And Clark, he's very good at picking up off his hip.
For me, it was the lines more than anything else. I think the lengths you can get away with if you've got the lines, but unfortunately, especially with 2 men outside the circle, you will get punished, especially against this level of opposition. Oh, that's a beauty. That is an absolute beauty. How's that not hit the stumps?
Yeah, it's a very, very good ball. Again, that's hit the live grass that we talked about. But as much as it hit the live grass, it's that length and hitting that pitch hard on that length. And Tom Taylor's just exploited what is there in the pitch. You can see him gesturing there that the ball's nipped. And I think it's just bounced and missed everything.
I've got no idea how that's missed the stumps. Bear in mind, Alex Lees has given himself some room, massive room outside the leg stump. He's trying to hit that over the top of extra cover. And wow, it's a good start from Taylor. This time, Lees in the air, long way in the air. Fielder comes under it, settles himself. Yeah, it's a very, very good catch out there in the deep, and a welcome wicket from the Rapids' point of view. Taylor with a good first ball. Second ball, he just took a little bit of pace off it. I think it's Ethan Brooks in the deep who's managed to run in from deep square, settle himself, and take a very, very good catch to get rid of the Durham captain.
Yeah, again, he's just hit that hard length. Alex Lees has tried to go straight, but then ended up dragging it out to the leg side. And I think it looks like there's a big difference in the ends here. This end from the media centre here it looks like it's bouncing a little bit more than it is from the other end, and it looks like they're going to have to probably capitalise hitting out towards the other side.
This end, it's got a little bit of, I think they've got a little bit of wind assistance as well. So you'd have been bowling at the other end, wouldn't you, Kill?
Wherever the wind was blowing, I would have been bowling into it.
Just to finish, before you, obviously, you've got 4 balls left in this commentary stint, talking about, we mentioned it earlier on, we got a chance to mention that England trip you've just been on, but to work with players at the top end of the game, that must be hugely satisfying.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I've had the opportunity over the last year and a half since I went into the job to go and work with some of the senior teams across the white ball and prep some of the players ready for the red ball and the tests, and it's been absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed every moment.
When Ollie Robinson comes in, faces his first ball, who some will argue a little bit unlucky not to be involved in the Test match at Lords in St John's Wood in in a week's time. Jamie Smith got the nod over Ollie Robinson. He's been in ridiculous form in red ball cricket as Ollie Robinson. He's not got the level of runs he probably would like in the Blast so far. He's got 77 from his 7 games in this format, but he's got a chance to come in at number 3 instead of obviously the injured David Bedingham. It was a positive start from Robinson. The first ball went straight out the middle of the bat, and even there, Taylor's just strayed onto the leg side and timed it into the deep where Hayden Walsh Jr. was the fielder. And it's been a good over from the Rapids, a one that was definitely needed from Brett D'Oliveira and his team. You're right, Kill. I think there is a discrepancy from either end, and it could be, the pace might be more suited. Finch coming down to this end, and the spin bowlers going to the other end. 2 balls left in this 5th over. There again, good length from Taylor.
And again, you see that bounce. And I think that initially they would have looked at the seam bowling from the other end because of the wind and a slightly bigger boundary. But I think the way they've seen this play and the way that the bounce has come off the pitch, it looks like they may use the seam from this end and potentially bring the spin at the other end.
Yeah, last ball of the 5th over. Durham have gone nicely so far. Found the boundary whenever they've needed to. Don't think the Rapids will be overly pleased with the way they've started in this power play up until this over. This over has been very, very good, rewarded with a wicket. Final ball, and that's a beauty. An excellent end to what has been a very, very good over for the Worcester Rapids. Taylor with 1 for 10 off his 2 overs. And Durham at the end of the 5th over are 45 for 1.
Harmy and Killer, they'll be back with you later on. Rob Rush and Gordon Mutchell's joining me alongside. What do you make of this first 5 overs then, Gordon?
Yeah, obviously up until that wicket it was all Durham, but that was a tiny wicket for Worcester, just leading into this last power play over. But a good start from Clark there, times one well off his legs, and 45 for 1's not a bad start for Durham.
No, not at all, and I did manage to catch a quick word with Vic, head groundsman, before the start of play. He reckons that there will be some grip later on, so that would bring both spinners from Durham and the spinners from Worcestershire that we might well see throughout the remaining kind of 15 or so overs. It's going to be Finch who's continuing from the Lumley end. Ollie Robinson 1 off 3, wants to try and get going here, and that's a full one that he's missed out on, but will be called a wide. Hasn't quite lit up the blast yet, Ollie Robinson, but as Harmy and Killer mentioned, in the red ball he's been absolutely electric for Durham.
Oh no, absolutely, and obviously didn't get the nod in that Test match, but the way he played, obviously at Chelmsford a week ago, he's still knocking on that door. And maybe might just free him up a little bit tonight to get going in the 2020.
Durham fans will certainly be hoping for that. Seems a cut of that one, and Robinson not able to connect any back. What do you reckon then in this final over? Got 4 balls left of the power play. They've made a very good start, Durham. What's the score that you would be happy with at the end of this?
I think looking at the pitch at the start of the day, if anything above 50 in the power play would have been good. I was thinking it was a 150 pitch at the start, so that gets us a good chunk of the way there. And that one just looks as if it's just hit one of them dry patches and not come on quite as well as he thought.
Flicked lovely through the leg side by Robinson. Chases on. Just holds up, and very good fielding work to keep that to a pair of runs. Robinson moves himself on to 3. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what what Durham will be thinking about in terms of obviously got a long way to go in this inning. It's not even close to being halfway done. But in terms of pass score, we know that teams in T20 generally like to chase because that's what score you're chasing. Did you prefer chasing? Or?
I did always prefer chasing, but I think Durham the last couple of games at home they've set the target and managed to get 2 wins. So that's their plan. As that one just gets over the top of mid-on.
Will it go all the way? Very good diving stop by the fielder. They're going to come back for a quick third. I think if that was a direct hit, Robinson might have been turning around and walking back, but he is a pocket rocket and he's managed to scrape back, and that is the 50 up for Durham in 5 overs and 4 balls. These two are pretty quick between the wickets, so I think we might be seeing a few more of that. Pushing for runs.
Definitely too fleazy was out there. But no, fantastic dive, and I think a good throw. He was maybe struggling, but he got home, and that's all that matters.
2 balls left of the power play, 52 for 1. Clock on strike, and just bounces before the fielder. He's very unlucky there. That is going to run away, but it won't be 4. And this time they do just settle on a pair. So they have brought up that 50 that you were talking about there. Which are I guess just anything off this last ball, anything that's not a wicket.
No, that's it. And I think they obviously try and target this last ball. And I thought Leesy and Clark, you got them off to a great start, jumped on anything that was on offer. So no, strong power play. Fingers crossed we can get through it 1 down, and then we can tack these middle overs with plenty of men in the hutch.
Do you think spin after the power play? Do you think that will come straight in with the restrictions on the field being lifted, as Finch does now end the power play, and Graham Clark chips to mid-off. That is a very good way for Worcestershire to end the power play. They took some heat early on, but have bounced back in these last 2 overs, and Graham Clark, after a electric start, has to depart for 24 off 14. That ends the power play for Durham, 54 for 2. 4 fours for Clark, but just mentioning there much, do you now think we'll start to see some spin from Worcestershire now that they've got the ability to push some fielders out?
It'll be interesting because obviously there's been a little bit of up and down movement with the hard ball for the seamers. Traditionally they will go to spin, so we'll wait and see. Like I said, there's plenty of live grass, but there's the odd little dry patch of mud which it will hold and spin off, so it might be a little tricky to work out whether it's going to turn or skid on if it hits that live grass. But it looks like we've got... Oh no, the wicketkeeper stood up. Looks like we're going to have some spin. Dolavira by the looks of it.
It looks like it's going to be...
Oh no.
It looks like it's going to be Brooks. So I think similar as we see Ollie Robinson with Ben Rain, we'll probably see when Durham get to bowl, Ollie Robinson stands up to Ben Rain. So I think keeper's going to stand up to Brooks here as well. Colin Ackerman, the new batter in at number 4, has spent some time out of the T20 side with a dislocated finger, but he's now back as Brooks is in for his first ball. It's pace off, and Ollie Robinson flicks that onto the leg side with a single, so he's now on to 7. Yeah, it is Ethan Brooks who's into the attack from the Finkel end. Right, kind of just down below to our left-hand side in the studio that we've got here, away to the side, and immediately he's gone long on and long off a back, right down in front of us. And there we have seen again a lot of pace off. I think that might be Brooks' tactic for his 4 overs here, which it looks like it's going to be very heavy pace off attack.
Yeah, start with 2 slow balls there, trying to get it nice and full, so the batters can't get that step hit to this short boundary we identified at the pitch inspection. But no, it could be a big spell for Worcester this.
Deep mid-wicket and deep point are the other fielders, and deep point's going to have a big chase on, but he's not going to get there. Ackerman hits his first boundary. Just too much width offered, and Colin Ackerman, he's been playing himself back into some form, got some runs down at Essex a few weeks ago, and doesn't need a second invitation on a short and wide one in T20.
If there's a ball you want first ball, it's probably that one. But he's picked the gap really well, and he's 4 from 1.
Again, slower, and that one just sits into the pitch, doesn't quite get the bounce up, and Ackerman does well to wait on it.
Just seemed to run that one back in. I think Ackerman thought he was going to get a bit more width there. Kept it out and got one, hit the gap. I think that's the key here. Limit your dot balls. And I think these two are going to run hard between the wickets. Robinson's wristy work is really, really important on these sort of wickets.
wide, and Robinson cuts this one, but it is straight out to the man in the deep. How important is as well the communication between the pair? And like we see it in county championship, you know, sometimes over to over, but in T20 even more so, like the ball-to-ball communication of when you can notice a variation off a bowler.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously these two experienced batsmen. I think also with the running, you can see the field's set quite deep, so there's ones all around square of the wicket, so they'll just be going.
That one rides up, and Ackerman just turns it into leg side for no run. 61 for 2 after 7. So yeah, just finishing on that communication point there.
Yeah. So obviously, and I think these two have batted together quite a bit in the championship, so they'll know each other well. And that comes with time. There's nothing better. And I remember sort of batting with Phil Mustard after a period of time. You almost don't have to call. There's just that look or little nod and you're off. And like I say, both experienced batsmen, so they'll read this pitch well, see what a good score is, and pick it up. Got some leg spin on now. It's interesting to see how much it does turn.
Yeah, it's going to be the young Hayden Walsh who's going to come in from the Lumley end. So maybe Brett D'Oliveira looking at keeping pace down in front of us and then spin from the other end. I think Ollie Robinson might be eyeing up some boundaries here, and he does eye up the leg side, but it is stacked to start with. It'll just be a single. So yeah, long on, long off are in play, and it's going to be deep mid-wicket, and looks like it's going to be deep backward square of the men out. So that's going to be the field, and then you've got a gap here at sort of a backward point. There is a gap if Ackerman can try and cut if the ball is there to be played. That one just defended.
They're almost giving you 1 and 2 on the leg side there, wanting to play against the spin. Hoping for leading edge back to the ball or possibly extra cover.
Bit more pace on that one, and that's turned around the corner. As you mentioned there is the one. There's the one they're willing to give you. Can't quite turn it into 2. That's going to be, I think, when you certainly as you get towards the later overs, if you can turn those 1s into 2s with hard running. And
like Killer said, I think there's some square, quite big pockets, so if you can get the timing right, just order.
Back of a length, a big LBW shout. Robinson survives.
So it's almost wanting to take a little bit of pace off, and you get the edge of that 30-yard circle. There's normally 2 because the fielders are set back right on those Toblerones. There's our friend Ashley Thorpe, who I think's listening in Spain at the moment.
He's taking some time off. He's just decided to go to Spain on a little jolly holiday. As that one's turned around the corner.
I think he's taking some lads from Parkview out there on a nice little cricket tour. But he's messaged in saying he's watching. So
why let the truth get in the way of a good story?
Well, that's true.
Walsh in, Ackerman, nice flamingo legs, but will only pick up a single from it. And that's a very good first over from Hayden Walsh. No boundaries, just the 4 singles from it. 65 for 2. The run rate sitting at 8.1, which is quite healthy, but has understandably slowed down since the power play has ended. I wonder what that conversation in the middle between these two is right now, Gordon. Any ideas?
I think they'll be pretty happy with the way things are going. Obviously, they've had a look at the leg spinner for an over. They'll probably discuss a few plans where they maybe can get those 2s or where the 4 options are. And no, as I say, I think it'll be just keep going as we are. Wickets in hand at the end, especially on these sort of dimensions, is key.
Matthew Waite back into the attack. He's got Colin Ackerman, who's 7 from 7 in his sights. Lovely looking drive. It beats Brett D'Oliveira at short extra cover, and slight slip in the field will allow a comfortable 2 for the batters.
Another great gap hit there by Colin. Turning that 1 into a 2 that time. Yeah, and it makes such a difference to the tally at the end if you can really push them hard in the field.
Again, strong leg side field. Got 3 fielders out on the leg side boundary for Worcestershire. That one's wide outside off stump, and Ackerman gets a thick under edge. He probably would have been better to leave that. He would have had a chance of getting the wide call, but
right on that line again, pace off. Like Killer and Harmy were mentioning, lots of pace off on this wicket. I think is the way Worcester have decided to go.
Yeah. Well, that'll be something then that Durham can take into their innings as well, knowing that Worcestershire took a lot of pace off, and that's something that Alex Lees can take in and instruct his bowlers. You know, Ben Rain is very good at taking pace off the ball. His weight is in, and Ackerman hoiks this leg side. Has he picked the gap? He has a very good fielding on the boundary, and it will come back for a couple. Very good by the man, Josh Cobb, out at deep backward square, able to run round and make the diving stop.
He's had a great T20 career, and Josh Cobb. Started Leicester. I think he got a man of the match in one of the finals there a while ago when I was playing. It must have been a while ago.
Back past the bowler will just be a single there. So 70 for 2. 1 ball left of this 9th over. Robinson takes time to eye up the field. Just the 2 men out on the offside. If he can pierce the gaps there, goes back down the ground and will just be 1 bounce single. What sort of variations do you think Matthew Waite's going through? Some cutters and the like? Do you reckon that's what's kind of going through his mind?
Yeah, it's hard to see off our screen, but I think so. Out the back of the hand, a few cutters, and I think he might try and get a pace on one at some point this over. And that might be what we're waiting on here, Ackerman.
That one does look more pacey, and Ackerman drops into leg side, and it's going to be good running to get back for the second.
Fantastic running.
As you mentioned there, it's going to make all the difference in the end. You can turn those singles into doubles, and that is another 2 to add to tally. 73 now from 73 for 2 off 9. It's almost at the halfway stage, and it looks like the skipper for the Rapids, Brett D'Oliveira, is going to bring himself on from the far end after seeing Hayden Walsh not go for many runs off his first over. He thinks leg spin might be the way to go.
Yeah, and obviously mixing those leg spinners up rather than letting the batsman set against one, changing it up. It's a good idea. They're gonna have to bowl a little bit of spin from this end, so it'll be interesting to see how Durham's plans go when they do that.
What's the immediate target? Do you think Robinson goes straight after him, or does he give him a ball to settle in? We're about to find out. Played off the back foot, and it will just be a punch out to deep cover for a single. What was your kind of ethos when you got these change-ups in the middle and you've had one bowler for 1 over and then his immediate change? Did you try and take the new bowler on straight away? Was that your mentality?
Set yourself for a bad ball. Obviously, it's not easy to start well, but also I used to like to have a look at the bowlers as well. So I would maybe be trying. I'd have my spot where I was going to hit my 4 if he bowled in that area, and also have my 1s. So I wasn't definitely targeted in the first ball, no.
2 singles to start. Robinson jinks down the track, looks for 2, but settles on 1. There hasn't been a boundary in the last few overs. I think Walsh got through his first over unscathed. Waite then managed to keep it to singles and doubles, and D'Oliveira here gets an edge from Ackerman, and it's another dot for Worcestershire. So after a slightly leaky power play, they've been able to rein Durham back in as we approach the halfway stage of their innings. Powerful cut. And it does reach the boundary. Much needed for Durham after a couple overs without finding defence. Ackerman is able to end that drought.
And that's the first time he's just missed them stumps. He's bowled really well so far, D'Oliveira. But again, the first bit of width there, Durham batsman managed to jump on him and put away another good 4.
Can they end the over with a similar result? 1 ball left. Slog sweep. Has he got all of it? I don't think he has, and he has to go deep mid-wicket. Takes a simple catch. Colin Ackerman, after hitting a 4 the previous ball, tried to get the big one, and unfortunately not able to time all of it. So his return to the T20 side ends with 19 off 16. He's not best pleased with himself. And that brings Worcestershire their 3rd wicket. Ethan Brooks with the simple catch. 71 for 3 as we've got a slight change in the commentary box.
Yeah, cheers, Rob. Cheers, Muchie. Yeah, well timed wicket there for the Rapids, and spin is definitely starting to take an effect. Neil Colleen, Simon Brown alongside me for the next 5 overs. And Chubb, first impressions of the first 10 overs you've been watching? Has it gone predictable where seam at the start was where you're going to get your chance to score and the spinners were going to come and squeeze?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost a game of two halves. The seamers bowling from this end, as you mentioned, I think Killer mentioned early on, there's a bit of live grass on the pitch. It's quite tough if the seamers bowl well. But the slower bowlers from the far end have really caused some problems since they've come on and taken the pace off the ball. So I'd just be interested to see if Durham learn from this and what their tactics are when it comes to fielding. Personally, I would go slow from the far end very early on and look to bowl seam from this end, I think.
And Kill, we're looking at a halfway point of 81 for 3. One ball into the 11th over. Durham's overseas player Ashton Turner is the new man at the crease. He missed the last couple of games because of, well, he missed the last game because of injury, but now back. The injury of David Bellingham. And Kill, you're looking at a total on here. What do you think a good score is on this surface?
Well, they're in a good position now at 82 for 3, but I think they're in a good position at 83 for 3, but I think anything sort of north of 150 on here is going to be pretty hard to get, and I think if Durham get the tactics right, it'll be really hard to get.
Yeah, the average first innings total this ground is 155. I think Durham will want more than that. Ashton Turner, his players Hayden Walsh Jr. off the back foot, can just keep rotating the strike, building for the next phase when the onslaught of the boundary. You have got a short leg side boundary, for the spin bowler bowling at the media centre end. Again, Witt's just outside off stump and Robinson just rocks back. Yeah, north of 160 I think would be a total I think Durham would be looking for. But the Rapids have pulled it back nicely. They didn't start that well in the start of the power play, and I think that's something I would imagine Durham will be definitely looking to better when they get their time around again. Good rotation of strike, just lost the sight of it there for a second. End of that over, 6 singles from it, 86 for 3 is the total. 11 overs gone, Turner on 3, Robinson on 6, and Walsh Jr. showed his international qualities. He's gone for 10 runs off his 12 balls.
Just seen on even the slower bowlers when they've not allowed the batsman to drive and hit the ball straight down the ground. Killer mentioned it earlier on, looking at the bigger boundaries, sort of square of the wicket. The spinners are definitely trying to stop people, like you say, stop the batsman hitting down the ground. And also, there's not enough pace on the ball to try and sweep it and hit it square as well. So good tactics by Worcester, I think, and they've bowled well to the field that they're setting.
Yeah, they have. Credit to Brett D'Oliveira, who, as soon as the power play ended, brought the spin straight into the game, and he is one of them that comes on now. To Ashton Turner, who in the crawl is 2. Robinson is quick. Turner is very quick. And a little misfield there, and they were both in a good position to capitalise on that misfield.
Yeah, I think you might see these two do that quite a lot here. Look to hit the pockets, run 2s as much as they can, and then try and put that bad ball away, which makes it a big over.
Turner will possibly go the sweep shot if he's got any width whatsoever. This time he's flat batted it straight back down the ground. I think it was the Leicester game where he hit the slog sweep very, very well. One of them went straight onto the roof at Ballantyne's. It was a very, very good shot down the ground, and he's very, very strong on the sweep. This time Robinson uses his feet. Fielder well placed again. Singles for Durham, keeping the rotation of strike going, and the Rapids will be quite happy that there's no boundaries on offer.
It's really, really difficult to hit the ball with any sort of power behind square. The way the field's set and the ball is taking the pace off the ball.
This time down the ground, and again just clothed it. There seems to be they don't seem to be timing the ball off the wicket, and it doesn't seem to be travelling as fast and as far.
No, I think it's a pitch where it's really difficult to time the ball. I think if you look at the bounce off the pitch, especially this end that they're bowling at now, there's not the bounce up into the sort of the plane of the bat. And I think what they've got to try and do through this period especially is try and keep those singles and 2s going as much as they can, and hope that you can capitalise from this other end to this shorter boundary with the win.
Yeah, 6 off the first 5 balls of the 12th over. D'Oliveira will be looking to try and get out of it with limited damage, and he did. One just went on with the arm. Top spinner from Brett D'Oliveira, and a good over from the Rapids. 7 off the over. 12 overs gone. Durham on 93 for 3. Robinson 18 from his 19 balls faced. Ashton Turner 7 balls faced for his 8 runs. Going along at 7.8 and over. Durham in the best position, or are you happy where Worcester are?
I would still be favouring Durham now. I think the fact, like I said, they've only lost 3 wickets. There will be a spell where they can try and pick up some boundaries as well. But you're right, at the moment it's really important that they score off every ball. Look to, like you say, pick up some 2s as well. Boundaries are probably going to be hard to come by, but at some point we might see a bit of pace back on the ball, and I think that's when Durham might look to attack more.
Short ball from Walsh Jr. into the gap from Ashton Turner and splits the field in a welcome boundary. Like Simon Brown's just mentioned, it was a filthy long hop from Hayden Walsh Jr. It deserved possibly 6 with the wind in the short boundary, but he managed to keep it on the ground and split the fielder very, very nicely. Good shot, good boundary for Durham.
Great placement that.
I think that's the way to play as well. I know you said it deserved a 6, but I think trying to hit 6s on this pitch across the line will cause problems.
This time down the ground from Ashton Turner, expecting the ball to be a bit fuller off the back of the short ball.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the boundary, like I say, was a really well put away shot. It probably looked ugly on a replay, but really difficult to hit a ball with such little pace on it. And you just mentioned there's another shot where batsman's trying to sort of hit it down the ground reasonably firmly. Difficult to time it. Again, with the pace taken off the ball. Boundaries just are difficult right now, really difficult.
That's credit to the Rapids, the way the captain and their overseas have bowled. This time down the ground from Ollie Robinson. He's got a little bit more on it. And Ashton Turner turns, looking for 2, but an excellent bit of fielding in the deep. I think it's Adam Howes, that's who's down here right in front of us. Shouldn't get that wrong, considering he's standing right in front of where we are. But a very, very good bit of fielding. If Ashton Turner can't get back for 2, nobody is going to. This time he's gone for the sweep shot, and it's dropped just short of short third. I think that's Josh Cobb who was trying to get it. He looked into the big sweep into the leg side. He managed to get a top edge on it. I think from a fielder's point of view, Killer, who we get relegated, actually Chubb as well, us bowlers get relegated to behind the wicket, either on the off side or the leg side when the spinners are bowling. I think you can see why he was a little bit disorientated there. 100 up for Durham inside 13 overs. Get a good single. Not a bad over from the Rapids. What's that? 8 from it. And it's just bubbling along nicely.
Yeah, he's bowled 3 overs for 18 there, which has really pulled it back a little bit for Worcester. And you look at the spin between them, those 5 overs between Walsh and D'Oliveira have only gone for 32. And that's kind of put them back in a position where they're just controlling this middle period a little bit. And it looks like going for those big shots has been tough. We've just seen Ashton Turner there try for a big shot across the line into cow corner with a lap slog, and it's hard to get the ball.
It is, you're absolutely right. Timing the ball on this pitch is difficult when there's no pace on it. We saw earlier on, said before, like with the quicker bowlers, that's the time to try and capitalise.
Down the ground from Ollie Robinson, and this time he's got all of it. He's timed it beautifully, and it's a whole all the way for 6. And a good start for Durham in this 14th over.
Yeah, again, what we've just talked about there, you see him go down the ground with a straight bat.
Did he?
He wasn't quite there, but because he's gone with a straight bat, he's still been able to execute the shot.
You can see the last couple of overs in particular, the Durham batsmen have really been looking to see where can I hit a boundary. So that was welcome relief, really.
This time a little bit faster from D'Oliveira, but straight and just again fine leg, not quite anticipating what's going on inside the circle. And when did Durham go? They've got 3 wickets. 3 wickets are down. They've got Jones, D'Oliveira left. Turner, that's a big hit down the ground. That's all the way as well. Good use of the feet. He timed that one absolutely perfectly out the middle of the bat. 6 more to Durham.
Yeah, you talk about moments in T20 games where batsmen really capitalise and look for that big over. This is now that moment where I think Ashton Turner will look to take this over down.
As soon as that ball was given a bit more flight, it was probably a little bit too straight as well, just drifted into his legs to let him get his arms free and hit it.
13 off the first 3, D'Oliveira over. He's gone this time, googly. Throwing it that little bit higher above the eye line. Brave from D'Oliveira, gets rewarded. And I think it was the wrong end that's come back onto off stump. A good bit of bowling, good pressure from Durham. But unfortunately, they've lost their 4th wicket. And Ashton Turner goes for 20 of his 12 balls. And Durham are 114 for 4.
Yeah, clever bit of bowling there from D'Oliveira. He realised the plan, and Ashton Turner was certainly looking to go big that over and make that a 20 over if he could. And I think it was very, very brave for him to throw that up a little bit more with the wrong, and he's got his rewards. And again, it's just curbed that scoring.
I think brave's the right word as well, because you're right, that could have gone in the car park as well quite easily. Like you say, giving the ball that much air, but fair play to the bowler. He's sort of had a bit of a gamble, and it's paid off for him. Good
partnership from Durham. You know, they didn't die in a hole. They made sure that it was tricky to time it. Surface is not coming onto the bat as much, so they did run the ball around. They identified a period where they were going to go for 1 or 2 big shots, take a few risks. They probably needed to, as the run rate of where it was at. And 2 big sixes down the ground from Ashton Turner, from Robinson, then Turner. This time D'Oliveira got the wicket. In comes Bas de Leerde, Netherlands international, been away with the World Cup. This time above the eye line again, floated from Brett D'Oliveira. Positive start from Bas de Leerde, but a good over from Durham, and one that I think was probably needed.
Yeah, definitely. They've just been stifled a little bit for the past couple of overs, so to get a couple of boundaries away has been a real bonus.
Was there a little edge? Was there a little edge? Lolly Robinson looked behind very, very quickly. Unfortunately, Roderick, he just dropped out of his right hand. End of the 14th over. Durham 115 for 4. De Leerde on 1. Robinson on 27. Brett D'Oliveira just took a little bit of tap in that last over, but he's bowled very, very well as the Rapids captain. 2 for 28 off his 3. Hayden Walsh Jr. will finish off his 4th and final over here. He's got 0 for 18 off his 3 so far. I just wonder if Durham will fancy their chances of going at the leg, Walsh Jr., or would they fancy just seeing him off and then waiting for the pace to come back onto the ball? We'll find out. This one led into the offside, and a good single from De Leerde. Important again, like Turner and Robinson did, keeping the scoreboard going and rotation of strike.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's been conversations in the dressing room about looking at which bowlers the Rapids are going to have to bring back on. And just as you said there, what's going to be the big over or the big couple of overs that you're going to have a real push?
Shorter, flatter from Walsh Jr.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is that they're probably just going to play this over, because if they lost another wicket or another 2 wickets in this over, it would really stifle that scoring rate. And I think they'll just look to keep it ticking this over and then try and capitalise from, like Chubby's just said, from the seam.
Full to the leg side. 2 is the cry, but Leerde is very, very quick. So is Robinson. And they get back comfortably. Good placement from Bas de Leerde, not looking for the boundary, like Neil Killeen saying, probably just going to play this over out. And I wonder if the Worcester Rapid fielders know that, do you know what, sitting in, try and save 2, coming in off the boundary, again, into the leg side. 2 is the call. Robinson was slow to get going. De Leerde was desperately trying to push his partner to come back. But I think Ollie Robinson set off there with a single in mind.
Yeah, I think here at Riverside it's always been that not only boundaries but teams that score a lot of 2s are teams that do very well here. And trying to find those pockets in the corners is something that if you can do that cleverly, then you can actually still keep your scoring rate going really well.
And I think that's what Durham have done well. They've scored the ball, they've kept the scoreboard going. Boundaries are a little bit more difficult to come by. And possibly just waiting and bubbling nicely for that 1 big over. Trying to keep wickets in hand. Short ball from Walsh Jr. It's the end of his over and his spell. 4 overs from Hayden Walsh Jr. 0 for 25 are his figures. Durham are 122 for 4 off their 15. 8.1 runs is the scoring rate so far, with 5 overs to remain. Rob and Muchie will take you to the close.
2 spinners have done a really good job there for Worcester. They've managed to drag them back into the game here, so interesting to see how these last 5 go.
Thank you very much, guys. 122 for 4 then. 5 overs left of this innings. Much Harmy said about anything north of 160 was going to be a very good scorer. Do you echo that?
Yes, definitely. And I think Durham in a good position here to get a little bit north of 160. They've obviously held Jones back for his power hitting at the end. Two lads who are going to run well between the wickets here and hopefully set it up. Well, hopefully we don't need Jonesy, but if we do, we can just bat for a couple more overs.
Deleda on strike. Brooks back into the attack, and Deleda sends him down to long on for a single back after his World Cup exploits with the Netherlands. I think probably slightly not what he would have wanted, but he's able to come back straight to Durham and get straight back into the further things, back into the county championship side, and also straight back into T20. It does feel like Robinson might be looking to up the scoring soon. 29 off 27 for him. As I say that, he goes right back over the bowler's head, and he's got all of it again. Saw it a couple times the last over from the Lumley end that Robinson eyed up, and Turner as well, eyed up the straight boundaries, picked out another 6 there.
And again, that's the best place, isn't it? Straight back over the bowler's head with those boundary ropes brought in. And again, just slightly in the slot there. Every time the leg spinner just got that step hit, he went for 6. They're latching on everything so far.
What's the response? Outside off stump, and that's a wide. Brooks trying to overcompensate. He took the pace off that one as well. He tried to go slow and wide, and you have to bowl that one again.
And again, good thinking, obviously, when someone's coming at you to go a bit slow, a bit wide, you try and drag it. It sometimes get a catch on the boundary, but didn't quite execute as well as you would have liked there.
Full. Robinson digs it out, and he's picked out deep mid-wicket, and that is another maximum. I mentioned at the start of the over, Robinson might be looking to go. That's 2 maximums and 3 legal deliveries. He's on the charge.
Yeah, you can see he's just setting his feet now, isn't he? And anything where you get that step hit in, and he again went for 6, but he went for 6 in a great gap. Touch wood. We've given a couple of commentators curses away here, but he looks looks as if he's really in control of his game here and picking some really good areas to hit the ball.
Brett D'Oliveira just having a chat with Brooks, trying to calm him down and suggest what to follow up with. Slow. This should be gone. Robinson's not got all of it. Simple. Well, we just talked about it much. We just talked about the commentator's curse, and Robinson, after 2 maximums, has to go for 41 off 30. He had just looked up the scoring. Brooks did very well to drop the pace back off it, and it's a very, very simple catch for Adam Hose. Robinson departs for 41, and Michael Jones now strides out to the middle. Bit of a different role for him at Durham. Obviously, at the World Cup for Scotland, he opened much. How big of an impact do you think that has on just a batter in general, and then specifically to Jonesy, having going from opening at the top to then coming in with just over 4 overs left?
Yeah, it's a completely different role, and I think if you ask any batter, they would rather open the bat and get a chance to get used to things and build innings. But this is an important role. You know, you look at where the big money goes in the IPL auctions, people like Tim David and other people who can come in and finish an innings are gold dust. And it's not an easy job. We were lucky when I was playing. Gareth Breeze came in and did this role really well.
It's not a bad batter to have at sort of 6 or 7 to bring that in. Jones just takes a moment to compose himself. Missed out earlier this week with a slight issue, but he's fit to go here, and he's met by some bounce straight up from Brooks. That was a very slow delivery that kind of looped up off the pitch, and both bowler and keeper quick to keep Jones in his crease.
Definitely, we talked about before, I think the way Brooks just took the pace off, went wider to get that wicket. Like you say, when your beans are going and you're looking to hit that ball, sometimes that's the best place to go, and he has come back well after those 2 6s.
Long off is slightly wider, and that is wide, and Jones pushes it out, and very good running from the pair, immediately called through for a single. So Jones will retain the strike as we move into this final 4 overs, 137 for 5. Walsh has bowled out, so there's going to be a bowling change coming for Brett D'Oliveira. Brooks has 2 left. He's got 1 for 22 off his 2 overs. I think Matthew Waite has also got 1 left as well. So it'd be interesting to see where Brett D'Oliveira allocates his resources. And he's allocated this 17th over to Finch, who's come back into the attack. Adam Finch, 2 overs, 1 for 24 so far. Give a brief look at the field. Long on is slightly wide, then he got deep mid-wicket, deep backward square and long leg, all on the leg side. So again, that stacked leg side field much that we've kind of seen, and then deep point as well. Where does Michael Jones want to send this one from Finch back into the attack? Rises up off a length, and Jones kind of just fends it into the pitch.
Yeah, I think with this field, he's going to be hitting the pitch hard. Saying to Michael Jones, can you take this leg side on? He started well there, sort of the top of that middle leg stump.
Do you reckon we might see slightly fuller lines as well, fuller length, sorry?
No, I think he's going to be going into the pitch. He's obviously got mid-off, sorry. So anything full, I think Jones might be trying to target extra cover mid-off, sorry.
In front of the pavilion as Finch said, and Michael Jones has absolutely sent that right in front of the old scoreboard. You mentioned he was going to go into the pitch. He didn't get that one right, and Michael Jones, he might have only been at the crease for 4 deliveries, but he does not need a second invitation.
And I think that's why Durham have held him back. He has got this power. I haven't seen an awful lot of him, but people talk about this this big hitting he's got. And as I say, as a batter, when you've got this field, you almost have an intuition where the ball's going to go, and he's set his feet there, and he's launched that into the scoreboard.
Full is the response, and well dug out by Jones.
And that's his other option, to really go full and straight. He can't really afford to get any width with this field.
143 for 5. 3.5 overs left of Durham's innings with the bat. Alex Lee is calling correctly at the toss and wanting to put a target on the board. Got Ben Dorcius, who should be coming in next as Finch is in, and Jones is driving him down the ground and just gets through for a quick single. Yeah, it's a pretty deep batting card Durham have got. You'd say only the 2 spinners are the ones that can't really, won't be looking to add the majority of the runs, but everyone down to 9 can, as they say in T20s, hit a long ball.
Yeah, Ben Rain's no mug with the bat, and obviously Dorcius comes in and hit a couple of nice fours towards the back end of the last game. So no, it's a good little platform being set for them here.
Baz Deleda now takes the aerial route. He doesn't get all of it, and fielder will come round and keep it to just a couple, but I think that shows what these two out in the middle are thinking. It's time to pile on the runs.
They're definitely looking to latch on anything they can to get over the boundary. But again, if you can't get a boundary, if you can get them 2s, keeps pushing that score up.
Still that heavy leg side field that we mentioned at the start of the over. It's not changed for Delade, who's now on strike. Deep point is the only fielder out on the offside. He does go leg side. They should be looking for 2, and it's a very quick turnaround, and it will be a comfortable 2 in the end. From the pair, what's that? 13, I think, off the over that was. 148 now for 5 with 3 left. Now Brett D'Oliveira has another decision to make. Does he stick with Brooks, or does he maybe bring himself back for an over? But Ollie Robinson and Ashton Turner both did go for him in his last over, so I wonder if that's playing on his mind, having a bit of a...
He has picked up those 2 wickets.
Having a committee meeting out there, and it looks like he's going to go seam, but he's going to go to Matthew Waite, I think is going to be the bowler trusted.
Yeah, he bowled a couple of good overs at the top. And as I said, there's been a bit of chopping and changing in this Worcester side, so having the settled death bowlers hasn't probably been the case. So there is a little bit of discussion to go on there.
Again, heavy leg side field for Michael Jones to contend with. Worcestershire making their plans well known. Jones does flick this leg side, and it will be a single. Is that something that is talked about, like when you were playing before the game, like when you get towards the death overs? Is it set your bowlers, or is it very much you have a rough idea and then you're able to adapt to what goes on in the middle?
I think you have your plan A, and if everything's going well, that's what you go with. So your 2 death bowlers will be told at the start, look, we're going to look to come to you at the end. Obviously, depend on how the start of the game goes. That sometimes does change. But obviously having the overseas out, I think he would normally bowl the death overs, which is a bit of a miss for them.
Yeah, Nathan Smith not available for this one. Baz Deleda backs away and gives himself room.
Fantastic shot.
And he will pick up 4 for it. A little shimmy to the leg side, and I think he's broken his bat in the process. Like the bat handle's gone. So he's hit that so well. He needs a new bat, and I think it's George Giselle. He's not got one out for him. He's got to run all the way back to the dressing room. That brings up 150 for Durham. So as Harmy mentioned and much alluded to, the 160 should be within comfortable reach. I am quite astounded as to how Baz Deleda done that.
I know, it was a beautiful shot over extra cover. Fantastically timed. It didn't look as if he overhit it, but sometimes when you've got a little bit of whip in your handle, that's when they go the best. So he might be a little bit disappointed his best bat's gone there. But he's got a few to choose from there.
They all do. They all do these days. They've all got at least 4 or 5 in there. Now, I wonder out the squad who's got the most. I imagine David Beddingham's probably up there for most bats in that dressing room.
Scott Borthwick used to love a bat when I was playing here. I don't know whether he's still the same. He always used to get good bats. But no.
What does Deleda have for an encore? This is short into the pitch. Bowler's slow to react to it. And what should have been a caught and bowled has ended up turning into 2. I think Gareth Roderick was initially thinking he was going to take that catch. It looped up high into the air, and
it's not always easy when the lights are on. I don't know whether Scott in the lights might be being a bit kind to them there.
It's actually Tom Taylor who's bowling. Excuse us. But, yeah, Tom Taylor not able to pick that one up easy. Under lights, yeah, as you mentioned, probably might have been picked up. We have got the floodlights on here. It's a nice evening in Chester Street. Short, wide, pulled by Deleda, but will just be a single.
Again, another well-timed shot. Hopefully these two can keep going and we can get 180.
Very, very, very ambitious prediction there, Mudge. I was thinking more of the 170, 165, 170 region, but you never know what can happen with these two. They've obviously got the international experience needed, and I think it's safe to say if the 180 is reached, I think Durham will be more than happy.
Oh, I think you would have snapped your hand off at the toss for that.
So Michael Jones got here. It's full and straight, and he's done well to dig that one out. However lucky he is to get the inside edge.
There's nothing better than a well-executed Yorker, is there?
Nah.
Especially this time of the innings.
I'm always slightly... I mean, I guess the margin for error is so small, obviously, in T20, but you see a lot in T20s, especially in internationals. They go for the wide Yorkers, which then obviously brings the wide into. And I've always sort of why haven't you gone more into that straight? But then you are ending up right in the slot.
That's it.
If you get it wrong,
if you miss with that straight Yorker, as we've shown, we've been hitting some strong sixes down the ground.
Later, again, slight shimmy to the leg side, and we'll just pick up a single. So he will retain the strike for the start of the 19th over. 158 for 5. Finch and Taylor both have 1 left, and it looks like Finch is going to bowl out from just in front of us. What do you reckon's going through his mind? Is it more of the same hard lengths, or is he going to look to switch it up?
Well, it'll be interesting. Went hard length in those Yorkers, didn't he, straight? But Jones did manage to pick that one up into that score box. But with the way they've set this field, it looks as if they're going for the same plan. They've got they've got 2 men out on the offside.
Yeah,
now.
deep extra cover has now been moved a bit more square by Brett D'Oliveira, and Kashif Ali, I think, has gone out at a deep. I think I want to say he's in between deep backward point and deep third.
I think it's definitely going to be into the pitch in Yorkers.
Well, that is a full toss that should have probably been sent all the way, but I think Finch will just take the fact that he's not bowled a no ball there. Did look pretty close on height, and Deleda's only able to slice it away for a single, so definitely got away with one there.
Sometimes a surprise when you're batting if you're looking for that sort of step hit and you get that full toss. They sometimes are quite hard to put away.
So that was probably the attempted Yorker to start with. Wonder if he now goes into the pitch, and does he try and tempt Michael Jones to go leg side again? Deep mid wicket is waiting right on the Toblerones. Nope, it's the Yorker. Jones digs it out very well and beats the diving fielder at mid-off. That takes Durham to 163 for 5, and Michael Jones is looking to end this innings with a bang.
That's it again. Went for that Yorker, just missed, and Jones manages to thread it through that mid-off and extra cover gap. Fielder will probably be a little bit disappointed he didn't stop that, and I'm sure the ball will be very disappointed he didn't stop that.
One of those in the review meetings that you think, oh, I should have done better there, mate. But Finch has to regroup.
Well balled.
Good Yorker. Very good follow-up.
Jones just gave himself a little bit of room at the offside there, and he followed him. Fantastic piece of bowling.
So that's 3 full balls to start with.
I think that Jones 6 in that last over has just put them off. Going into the pitch, but that does open up these sort of straight gaps, doesn't it? Which we've managed to thread one through.
Yeah, we've seen a couple. We've mentioned it. Long on is actually quite wide. It's not kind of your straight on. So if Jones wants to go back over the head of the bowler, so he tries to do there. Didn't quite get all of it, and it will just be a single to mid off. Cut off is not going to be an issue, I don't think. Cut off, I think, if my eyes are correct, 19:45 on the scoreboard.
Always helps having plenty of spinners in your team as well.
Yeah, keep that. Get through those overs.
I think there's only been 1 or 2 wides as well, and there's not been too
yeah,
many
it's been very tight. Very tight from Worcestershire, which is precisely what you want. You don't want extras to be piling up and giving the batting side extra balls to hit. Zeleda hits that one leg side. They should come back for 2. They're both quick. Almost getting each other's way, but able to scamper home. 4-2. Currently 8 off the over. Off this penultimate over, 166 for 5.
We just saw Deleda go across to the offside there and try and target that leg side. It was Jones the time before, tried to open the offside. But again, pretty well executed ball. A boundary now would make it a Durham over though.
Finch's last ball, 3.5 overs, 1 for 43. Has been expensive.
Balled.
Finishes well though. It was a dot ball, just what the Rapids needed. And into the final over, Durham 166 for 5. Finch 1 for 43 from his 4. Looks like it's going to be Taylor who's going to be trusted with the responsibility of bowling this final over.
And again, I think obviously Finch has probably gone for more than he would have liked tonight. But that was a good death over, and those overs sometimes are the difference at the end of the match. But we are north of Harmy's 160, so anything we get this over here is bonus time. Can we get my 180? That's what I want.
14 required for that. Partnership between these two is worth 30. They've done pretty well after coming together in the 16th over to add 30 in pretty decent nick. Is going to be Taylor. Michael Jones on strike for the start, and that is out of here, up towards Bannatynes. Take cover in the crowd. Michael Jones is looking for damage.
And that is another massive hit. It didn't matter where the boundary was here. That was into the stand. What a strike. Again, he's just setting himself on that back foot and trying to get underneath anything he possibly can. And he got a tasty one there.
Just a ball you kind of want, I imagine.
Yes.
It's first ball of the last over. A nice full toss to kind of just throw your arms at and feel good about yourself. Jones finished at 21 off just 12.
It'd be interesting to see if he goes pace off this one.
Pace off and maybe into the pitch as well. It's pace off and full, and Jones does well to dig it out. It will
go.
Gotta go. Slight misfield. It's just, this is the one time you don't want your basics to let you down if you're in the field. You can't be affording misfields, and that should have been a very simple just single, and it's turned out to be 2 there. Josh Cobb with the misfield out in the deep.
Oh, brilliant running again. It would have been easy just to lope down that other end and take one because he's hit that quite hard. But again, the alertness from the batter there, as soon as there's a misfield, he was gone. And you want Jones on strike as much as we can this last over.
3 men, leg side. Long on and long off are back slow,
well balled,
wide. And the umpire does not signal a wide. Very good comeback from Taylor after being hit for 8 off his first 2 deliveries.
No, that's it. I think pace off, like we talked about, is definitely a good one, especially when someone's trying to go, and he got that one just inside that line.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Mitch. I'm not going to disagree with you. You're the ex-pro up here. I'm just I'm just the commentator, as Harmy alluded. Up here, you're the best player in the world when you're in the commentary booth.
That is definitely true. I sometimes go home thinking, my word, I've talked some.
Halfway through the final over, full toss. Michael Jones goes again. 6 more.
180 up. I've been short.
You can't miss your Yorkers. Taylor's paid the price twice. And he's paid the maximum price as well. Michael Jones, 29 off 15. Mentioned that he's been opening for he opened for Scotland in the World Cup, and he's been tasked by Ryan Campbell to do the finisher role here, and he's helping out his head coach and his teammates. 180 for 5. Much's prediction looks like it's going to be short. Just how short is the question. Taylor looking to respond. He's going to get 4 more. Michael Jones is pushing Durham on here. Slow and wide, and Jones does well to hang the bat out and dab that down for 4.
That's a fantastic shot as well. When you're looking down the ground and you get that one, have the alertness just to beat that man at backward point and short third man. I think he's possibly could have got a wide there, but you'd take 4, I think, over a wide.
6.2.64. What does Jones have in store for this final ball? 184 for 5. He'd love another maximum to finish it off.
Oh, shot.
He's got it. Has he got it? He has as well. 190 for 5. Durham finish on. Michael Jones, the finisher, the hero for Durham, pushing them on north of 185. And that brings up the 50 partnership as well between these two. Deleda playing a perfect foil, getting Jones on strike. A brilliant finish to the innings, and Durham finish 190 for 5. And Much, you called the 180. Harmy called the 160.
I'm happy being a few short. And that misfield from Cobb out there has probably cost them 15 runs there, so that might prove costly at the end.
Has as well. 190 for 5, Durham finish on. Deleda 22 off 15. Jones 39 off 17. I can chuck you back to Andy in the studio.
Thanks, Rob. One heck of a finish there from Durham, like Rob was saying, to finish on 190 for 5. Now that is a challenging total, most certainly. Welcome back to Durham Live. Welcome back to the Daffa News studio, where I'm joined by Steve Harmison and Neil Khalid. Harmy, I have to come to you first. I have to commend you first. It took you 3 balls to take the rip out of Killer's hair.
Oh, it didn't take much. No, didn't take much. No, much you'll get it in the second half. I look up to Chubb far too much. He taught me everything I didn't need to know about being a professional cricketer when I came to this club very, very early. So I will never ever say a bad word about Simon Brown. But no, when you look at the camaraderie that we've got here, it is always good. And the one thing about Durham as a club is they've always had a very good spirit, and I think during that game there, during that innings, I think they've showed a lot of nous, a lot of spirit to not only in difficult periods to keep the ball rolling, but to then identify the period where the game was there for the taking, and boy did they take it.
Yeah, welcome to Durham Live, Killer?
Well, it's nothing that I didn't expect coming into here. It's nothing that I don't expect every time I see Stephen. So,
well, let's concentrate on the total. I mean, Killer, you said anything north. I think your words of 150 were good. They've got 190. So, just quite how good is that?
Yeah, it's very good. It's a total which is going to be very daunting for Worcester coming out here to bat. And I think through that middle period, Worcester gained a little bit of control back with their spin. Their spin ball very well. Yeah. But I think what Durham have done well, they kept it ticking through that period. They got their 1s, they got their 2s, took the boundaries when they got the opportunities, and then really capitalised on the pace at the end of the innings when the Worcester ballers missed their mark.
Because it was a good power play for Durham. And then, like Killer was saying there, Harmy, Rapids just started to ease their way back in. But it was a game of intermittent partnerships, wasn't it? Lazy and Clark, you got us off to a good start. Then you had Turner come in and start to hit a little bit. So those partnerships and those 2s, like Killer's saying, they're the ones that have probably set us up quite nicely for this.
Yeah, I think the big thing about that sort of 20 overs, you get passages sometimes in 20 overs where the partnership, 2 quick wickets in a partnership, and I mean it stalls. It never stalled over 20 overs.
Yeah.
When a new man came in, he went 1. Give the guy who was in a chance to get 1, 2, potentially boundary. Kept the rotation of going. So Durham didn't, as much as I thought the spin bowled really well, as Kill said, they didn't threaten to bowled Durham out, or they didn't threaten to derail Durham. Durham still looked in, I would say, total control, even though Hayden Walsh Jr., Brett D'Oliveira bowled very, very well. Yeah. The boundaries, you knew they were going to come when the pace came onto the ball, and both me and Killer said in the first 5 overs, if you hit this pitch, it will do something for you. Unfortunately, the last 4 overs of the Rapids, well, they didn't use the surface half the time, and that's why Michael Jones has hit them out of the ground.
How much Killer will the likes then of Callum Parkinson and Nathan Souter be watching D'Oliveira, watching Walsh Jr. and thinking, well, we're licking our chops at this one?
Yeah, without a doubt, they're going to play a big part in this second innings, and I think we're going to see them come into the game very quickly. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if we see spin for the first over, and use that very early on in the power play. The power play is going to be the key. Yeah. I think if Worcester are going to have any chance whatsoever in this game, they've got to target the power play, and they've got to go really hard.
Now, I have to say, Ash Thorpe isn't here tonight, and he's normally the commentator's curse, but I'm delighted, despite Ash is in Spain, that he's passed over the mantle to a certain Gordon Mutchell, because Ollie Robinson was flying. He was starting to hit some big shots, wasn't he? And Mutchie's turned a little bit of red to my left-hand side as I'm looking at him here. Literally next ball, after Mutchie was praising him, he's gone. But another tremendous, seriously speaking, pinch hitting.
Gordon Mutchell's head couldn't turn a little bit red. It couldn't. It's just not possible. It's not possible. So the room has gone warm. But yes, he did put the commentator's curse on him. He did play a really, really good innings. Yeah. Did Ollie Robinson. And there's going to be a disappointment to Ollie Robinson, I think, because he has to have thought that there's a chance of me playing Test match cricket next week. Yeah. I really do think that, and he hasn't had the, I would say, the impact in the blast that like an Ashton Turner or Graham Clark or Alex Lees has. He's 77 runs from 6 or 7 innings, I think it was. It's quite modest for a player as good as Robinson has been in the red ball game. Yeah. So to see him come in and bat the way he did, I was pleased for the lad. Killer,
we've talked him up quite a bit, Ollie Robinson, in mentions, dispatches with England. How far away do you think Ollie is from an England call-up?
He's not far away at all. Yeah. I think he's in every conversation. He has been for a while. I mean, I took him as head coach of the Lions this winter to India, and he had a great series and came back. His keeping work is second to none. But I think he's also come up against somebody in Jamie Smith, who's right at the top of that game as well. And between the two of them, it's quite exciting that we've got that level of wicket-keeping batter in the country. And that's without forgetting about Johnny Best or Ben Fawkes. I mean, there's a glut of keeper batters around at the moment.
Tough old competition. Speaking of players that have been away, Baz Deleder and Michael Jones, I mean, that's some cameo towards the end, especially Michael Jones. I heard you guys talking about it on commentary. There's power in those arms, isn't there?
Yeah, he's like, I think Rob mentioned it, he's been for Scotland as an opener, I think for Durham and previously as an opener. Yeah. And Durham have identified him a little bit like what Ryan Campbell did with Graham Clark when Ryan Campbell came in the Red Bull team. He went to Graham Clark and said, "You're going to be my number 6 because I see you as being a power player in the Red Ball game." And I think in the White Ball game, I think he's done the same with Michael Jones and just flipped him over and said, "I think you can be a good finisher for me." And he certainly, he was helped out. Let's be fair. I'm not going to shout from the rooftops that it was some of the greatest shots ever. He hit some very, very powerful hits, but there were some of the rapid bowlers would be sitting in the dressing room and going, "I didn't just miss me length, missed it by a long, long way," and I've helped contribute to why Michael Jones has gone off with a smile on his face.
Do you think, though, Killer, it's those 2 innings that really takes the game away from the Rapids at this point?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, especially Jones at the end there. I think to do what he's just done and 39 or 15 balls or 17 balls, whatever it was, it's something that's just given them that impetus going into this second innings now, and the momentum that Worcester now have to start with gives Durham the opportunity to take early wickets in the power play, which will completely kill the game.
Early wickets, spin. Harmy, is that the key to this one now? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, I think what Durham have got, they've got a very, very experienced and I think a very nouseful seam attack as well. So not only they've got a very good spin attack, the seamers are quick to identify the surface, quick to identify the situation. Talking about Ben Rain at the top of the show. So the likes of Ben Rain, if it's not swinging or not seaming, which we've seen early first 8-10 balls and that he'll quickly go to his cutters, he'll quickly go to his slow balls. And then Alex Lees, I would imagine, will turn to Nathan Souter. I think I might use Souter a little bit later in this, because I think if Durham get off to a good start, then Worcester, the Rapids, then have to start taking big risks. And I think if I was captain, I'd hold him back just a touch, because he would be the one I think it would be harder to take a big risk on. So I think that's the way I would go with someone like with Souter. But I think if Worcester don't get 55, 60 in the power play, I think they'll fall well short.
Killer, on that note, what do you think Ryan Campbell's thinking? What do you think he's saying in the changing sheds at half time?
I think he's just thinking that he'll have said to them, look, we know what the pitch is doing. We know what is necessary. I think he'll have identified the two ends as well. So I'll be very surprised if we don't see Ben Dwarsis at this end. One using the wind for his shape with the new ball, but also hitting the pitch hard. Ben Rain will probably come from the other end if he's going to ball inside the power play, but I think we'll see a lot of spin early and recognising that we've got to get them hitting square of the wicket, which is what we said right at the start of the game.
Absolutely. It's almost like you guys know exactly what you're talking about, isn't it? Almost.
I would say almost. But the good thing that, for me, in my point of view, from Durham's, is the way they sort of kept that innings going, the momentum going. And if Worcester get a period where they go 2 wickets, bang, or a period where they don't keep rotating and picking them singles up, that's where Durham, I think, will identify that period. Like they did in the first innings, they identified a period, this is where we can win it. I think we'll see that again in the second half.
Absolutely. Well, judging by the music outside, I mean, it's gone from cricket to football. There's England anthems going on left, right and centre, blaring into the Daffy News studio. Listen, we always say to you every single home match, we want you guys to get in touch, and a few of you have been. You can do on the YouTube comments, on Twitter using the hashtag #ForTheNorth, and we'll read out some comments. We had a certain Ashley Thorpe, no idea who he is, message in to say he's loving the coverage as well. Matthew Mullins, loving the coverage. He's coming to the Notts game. He's loving listening to Super Steve Harmison. How much do you pay him to say that, Harmy?
Bam, speechless. Absolute speechless. Not many people do actually say they love to listen to me. And that's including my wife.
I was just going to say Haley does, but
absolutely no comment from the presenter's chair. Just finally,
and I'm sober as well. So
just finally, before the two teams take the field, Durham doing this third straight win, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Durham have got 20 or 30 too many for the Rapids, but it all comes to the power play. Durham have a good power play. For me, they win easy.
Killer?
Yeah, win by 40.
Oof, big old win. Durham will be licking their chops at this one, most certainly. They're on for a third straight win. The Rapids need 191 for the T20 win this evening. Can they do it? Can Durham defend? We're going to answer those questions, and we're going to hand you back to your commentary team of Gordon Mutchell, Simon Brown, and first, Rob Rush.
Thank you very much, Andy. I can assure you from my point of view there won't be as many digs flying around when on this commentary stint compared to what Harvey's been dishing out to Gordon. Got Simon Brown alongside me. Do you echo the thoughts in the studio, Simon? Do you echo that?
I do, yeah. Well, I think we said at the start of the game, 160 looked like a really good score. 190 to me looks like an exceptional score. As Harvey's just mentioned there, the power play is obviously really important. I think the thing that Durham have got, we mentioned earlier on, they've got into the habit of winning games. When they get into good positions, I just see them starting to just force the issue a little bit more. If they can get a couple of early wickets, or if they can sort of keep, if they can keep the Rapids behind the run rate, I can just see them turning the screw all the way through the innings.
How important do you think that end of the Durham innings will be as we get towards the end? If Worcestershire do end up losing by 15 to 20, that final over is going to be like... it's going to be dichotomized and microanalyzed and gone, that's where we lost the game.
It is, and Harmy made a really good point there earlier on as well, though. But even when the spinners were bowling well, Durham did really well. They were still picking up 6, 7, 8 and over when it was difficult to score boundaries. So that was really important, that you don't lose momentum in the middle of the innings and then rely on having a few big overs towards the end. It's the difference between getting 160 and just scraping to get there, or obviously getting 190 as they've done. So I thought Durham played exceptionally well all the way through that. Really good game plan between the batsmen. and executed really well. And if somebody comes off like that at the end, it's really, really difficult hitting low full tosses like that for 6. And to do it repeatedly. Like I said, the ballers didn't quite get it in the right place, and the pace on the ball was actually helping. But yeah, it's still great execution to strike the ball like that.
Well, both teams are now back out in the middle. It's going to be Brett D'Oliveira and Kashif Ali to open for the Rapids. And it's been a common theme. I've spoken to Ryan Campbell before the start of this last campaign about how he was going to change up his power play and change up his bowlers. Callum Parkinson's been a huge part of that since joining from Leicestershire Foxes, and he's going to continue to open the bowling here. Harmy mentioned there that the power play, as always in T20, is key. Worcestershire do need to be targeting this first over, don't they?
They do, absolutely. And it's interesting, like you say, that Durham have gone with spin straight away. I thought they might have an over to a seam first. But fair play, like you say, they've gone with spin first. Parkinson's really competitive. Like you say, he's a fantastic contributor to the team, and I don't think this is a bad start for them.
Oh, here's hoping Parkinson gets off to a good start. It's short and wide, and he has been called first ball by the umpire. The 2 fielders allowed out in the power play to start with for Alex Lees. He's chosen Baz de Leijden, and I think it's Nathan Souter. They've both gone on the leg side. Everyone else is in. That's the first legitimate ball, is a dot one, and it's a good response from Parkinson. Just for reference, Durham ended their power play 54 for 2, so that's something to keep an eye on when we get towards the end of this power play. And then obviously Michael Jones kind of took over at the end to propel them to 190. So Worcestershire chasing 191 to win, and that will be the first boundary for the Rapids. Brett D'Oliveira not wasting any time getting into anything that's short and wide from Parkinson.
Yeah, just drag that down a little bit and just giving them some room. You mentioned earlier on there that the 2 boundary-saving fielders that are outside the 30-metre circle are both on the onside. Bowler's not quite got the ball up there yet. It's sort of first sort of 2 or 3 balls. They're just being a bit short and a bit wide on the offside. I'm sure we'll see him rectify that and start to tighten his line and get the ball sort of going through the onside.
Almost as if you know what you're talking about. Parkinson immediately obliges. D'Oliveira with a shimmy, but can only shake it into the leg side.
And batsman gave himself an awful lot of room there as well, and still managed to sort of just squeeze it up to mid-on. Like I said, the bowler followed him there. It was, again, good bit of bowling.
Kashif Ali only playing in his second blast match, I think, this campaign for the Rapids. Been in very good form in the red ball, and he'll be looking to carry that over. As we kind of alluded, the 2 fielders have remained out on the leg side, so the offside is heavily packed. Alex Lee's leading the charge as skipper at short cover. It's been a good follow-up from Parkinson after that first delivery.
2 really good dot balls there, really straight, not giving the batsman any opportunity to manipulate the ball. And interesting, getting the ball back in the bowler's hand really quickly so he can get back and bowl the next one to put more pressure on.
And that is a beautiful delivery to end the first over. He doesn't pick up a wicket, but he's responded well. 6 from that first over.
Turn and bounce with that last ball as well. We didn't see a lot of that during the Durham innings with the Worcestershire bowlers. The ball didn't genuinely beat the bat very often, but that was a genuine wicket-taking ball, that last one, like you say, turn and bounce. Just want to see what we're going to see from the other end. I think we've got Seam at the far end.
Yeah. I don't want to go against Killer and his knowledge, but he's got this one wrong. Ben Dorshus is going to come on from the Lumley, and he predicted Ben Rain. You got the first bit right, but you didn't quite get the second thing. Thank God I'm not on commentary with him, so he can't rip into me.
And I like this. I think this is a good idea. I think I possibly would have had the ballers the other way around. I might have had Seam at this end and spin at the far end, but I do think while the ball's still hard and you've got a wicket-taking bowler, you should give the new ball to one of your seamers.
Dorshus starts with a single that's turned away. It's been a bit of a stop-start campaign for Dorshus, not through injury, but was announced as the replacement for Scott Boland, and then Durham got off to the poor start, so naturally you turn towards a batter to solve your problems, and David Bellingham's not exactly a bad batter to have up your sleeve.
It's a great option to have.
So that then, with the rules only saying you can have 2 overseas in 11, Dorshus kind of had to miss out and then was brought back in for that thrilling win over Yorkshire and has performed well, bowled the last over that got the victory, and he's got Ashton Turner in at slip here, and Dorshus, now with Bellingham missing time through injury, is now going to get an extended shot here, and this one rides up for Ali to tuck away. How difficult do you think that is? I mean, Cambo's talking about it, the fact that he's a consummate professional and he's not let it affect it. But just how difficult is it to come into a team, like sign at a relatively short notice, because Scott Boland was known about for ages, to be announced at short notice and then be out the team pretty quickly?
I think, yeah, it shows some character, the way he's come back, I think. Coming over as an overseas player, you just naturally assume that you're going to play. So like you said, but I understand why he was left out, but I thought the way that he bowled in the Yorkshire game, didn't get off to a great start in his first couple of overs, but came back brilliantly to help Durham win the game.
Fingertip stop there, and almost with a run out of the non-strikers, and Kashif Ali was aware on it, but good athleticism there from the Australian.
So interesting when the way that Worcester started with their seam bowlers, they pitched the ball up quite a lot and got driven. The first 4 balls, I think it is so far, from like you said, from the seam bowlers, is back of a length, whacking the ball into the pitch as hard as possible.
This one a bit wider as well, and induces a drive out of D'Oliveira. Well, obviously they would have been able to talk about that in the interval about what Worcestershire did in the power play, and Alex Lees is a very smart skipper. He doesn't need too many people in his ear, but it's something obviously you can take into your innings, knowing what the opposition bowlers have done.
I think the bowlers, like you say, the bowlers need to work it out for themselves as well. So what's the best way to bowl on a particular pitch? And on this, but it is definitely back of a length and hit the pitch hard. And again, he's just done that again.
Very good start from Dorshus. 3 dots and 2 singles to start. And we mentioned, well, the guys in the studio mentioned that Worcestershire would need to go after this power play, and Durham have done pretty well to start.
Worcestershire will be disappointed that they missed out on those last 2 balls. They should have scored some runs off those, whether it was a single or a couple or even a boundary off one of them. But
that one's going to be called a wide down the leg side from Dorshus.
That one swung. Left arm sort of swinging it back in, just got the line a little bit too tight, so it swung down the leg side. But that's a real, I mean, speaking from personal experience, that's a real wicket-taking ball for a left armer. If you can swing it back in, that's really one of your...
Especially with the 2 balls previous being outside the off stump, you've got the batter moving across. So
that's a big wicket-taking ball. Now it's important that he finishes this over well and gets another dot ball in, ideally.
Gives himself room. Could it be a catching chance? It drops just short of Souter. Out on the offside. It is only a single though, so Durham get out of that over pretty well. Dorshire starts with just 4 off it. Rapids 10 without loss.
Yeah. So Batsman sort of gave himself room. Wanted to probably expected the ball back of a length, which it was. Good bit of ball and just cramped him for room. Could have quite easily ended up chipping that into the offside. Smart bowling, I think.
Parkinson's going to continue now. The trend has been that he's generally bowled 1 over of spin to kind of see what's happened and then kind of been whipped out the attack. But Alex Lees obviously liked what he saw.
I think particularly that last ball, the last ball of his previous over, that turned and bounced. Looks threatening to me.
Deleda comes up into the circle, and how has that not ended in a wicket? The turn there for Parkinson. Michael Jones has been dropped back from mid-off to long-off, and it's still Nathan Souter out there on the leg side. A bit more pace on, and that one does pierce the gap. Beautiful shot from D'Oliveira, and the Rapids get a well-needed boundary.
So D'Oliveira's been moving all over the crease here. The first ball, he must have been at least 2 foot outside leg stump when he played the first ball. That one, he just feinted to go away and then came back. Wasn't really an awful lot wrong with the ball, but it was very good execution to get the ball through the gap in the offside there.
Oh, is that a wicket?
I think that...
It looked very, very good from a Durham perspective, but it has not been given.
I can only assume he didn't get a hand on it, because I'm sure the batsman was out of his crease.
It looked like it hit him straight in the palm of his hand from our perspective, but it's a dot ball.
Well balled again. Tight line in the leg stumps, just spinning away from the batsman, making him just try and work the ball into the onside against the spin. Good bowling again.
D'Oliveira gives himself room, and Jones has got a long trek.
Oh,
he's done well to get there, but he's not executed the stop, and
Just
that's a bit of a gift for the Rapids.
Yeah, just lost his footing, unfortunately, as he was going around for the ball there. Which is a shame because, like you say, he made really good ground to get there, but probably just lost his balance a little bit, unfortunately.
2 boundaries for the Rapids.
Good bowling again. Same, that tight line, get it into sort of middle and leg. Ball spinning away. Really good bowling again. I suspect we'll probably see a change at this end now. 2 overs of spin, whether we see Ben Rain or whether we see a bit of early leg spin potentially, but I think we'll probably see a change now just to mix things up.
I think Alex Lees, if you told him that you'd bowl 2 overs of spin in the power play and Parkinson would only go for 14, yes, it looks expensive on the face of things, but when you take everything into consideration, I think he probably would have taken it. So
yeah, I think there's also a case for showing the batsman somebody new, show them a different bowler. In fact, I think we're doing that from the far end now.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Baz Deleda.
Yeah, keep mixing things up. Don't let the batsman get used to any particular bowler, so they can have a plan as to where they're going to try and score. Keep trying to present them with something new on a regular basis.
Yeah, Deleda, the other half of that partnership with Michael Jones at the end with the bat. He gets a nice and early chance with the ball here. Lee's hoping for something special from his Dutch superstar. Turned away, but a very good stop.
Yep.
By, looks like it's Clark on the discs, just round the corner.
Again, back of a length straight, not giving the batsman room to get their arms free to really sort of put any pace on the ball. Good bowling again. I've not seen a lot of Delay, but the 2 games that I've seen him bowling so far, I like what I've seen. He looks to have a plan and a method that he bowls to. Bowls nice and straight, doesn't try to bowl too quickly. He's a good performer, I think.
Maybe not quite had the results he wants, but the process seems to be there for him. And that is exactly what has happened there.
That was a peach. That was a really good ball. That it was angled in towards the stumps and it bounced and pitched and left him. That would have got wickets in a 4-day game as well. That was a really good ball.
Alex Lees turns to his Dutch star. He produces the edge from D'Oliveira, and Ollie Robinson takes a very good diving catch. Durham have their first wicket in the power play. D'Oliveira's gone for 15.
That, I think, has probably been the most lateral movement we've seen so far today, because that one seemed quite a long way. It was a good catch by the keeper as well, because he had to come back from potentially sort of starting to go down the leg side a little bit to getting back outside off stump. But again, good bowling. I've been impressed with what I've seen from Delete.
19 for 1. Josh Cobb is the new batter in at number 3. He's very explosive if he can get going, and I think he'll be relishing the chance of having half the power play to get going. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. He will, and he is like you say, he can be a really sort of explosive player. I don't see the body language that I would hope for from the Worcestershire team. I know it's difficult towards the end of the innings when they were fielding and the batsman is starting to hit, hitting a lot of boundaries and sort of hitting a few sixes. You just see the head start to go down a little bit. I haven't seen the batsman come out with the sort of the chest puffed out and really walk into the crease with a lot of purpose, which you get when you can see that people are really up for the task. I might be wrong. It might just be the sort of the general sort of way that the players are, but it just seems just a little bit lackadaisical.
Well, this seems a bit village. Josh Cobb has walked out to bat and then decided he hasn't liked the bat that he's come out with, so he's immediately called for a replacement.
Yeah, that's unusual since he hasn't actually hit one yet.
Or maybe because the umpire's gone as well, maybe it's a similar case of maybe not the umpire's seen something.
Too wide.
Oh, the bat's too big. Harmy reckons the bat's too wide. I mean, I know Harmy's too wide.
I'm very thankful we have. That's the first one. I'm very thankful. I'm surrounded by a lot of experienced ex-professionals here, because I was a bit lost there. But yeah, well, Durham had that with Nick Maddison a few years ago when he was here in the overseas. That could be very costly for the Rapids. They've already not got off to a good start in the blast, and it looks like they might be in. I have to see what comes of that. Josh Cobb with a legal bat this time, facing Deleda.
Oh, it was a good ball as well.
Slip in play, and again, that movement seems to still be there. And
ball nicely, like I said, just angling the ball in, and obviously the wicket the ball before seemed away a lot. That one straightened up as well. That would have been quite easy to play around. He's like I say, he's just hitting some really good areas here, and just going to cause some problems, I think.
Well, looking at the Durham lineup, obviously Leeds has already used Parkinson, Dorshis and Deleda. Obviously got Ben Rain and Nathan Sauter to come into things. those would probably be your front 5. I'm thinking is Deleda is in, and a swing and a miss from Kashif Ali. We saw Brett D'Oliveira use his part-time spinners as well. Do you reckon that this might be one for Colin Ackerman or Ashton Turner
potentially
to get some overs in?
Yeah, potentially. I'm always a big fan that you pick your best bowlers and you want them to bowl. If the circumstances dictate where, like you said, because of the conditions of the pitch, you can sort of get a couple of overs out of what I would call a part-time bowler. That's great. It just gives your other bowlers a bit of a break.
Full from Deleda and just squeezed past short extra cover, and Ben Rain tracks it down. Kashif Ali will pick up a couple. I think we'll have a commentary change at the end of the over. There'll probably be a fair or one more over, sorry. But
I think Delede's just started to pitch up a little bit there, because I think he just, because the ball's moved around and seamed a little bit, trying to get a wicket or two, which is, absolutely the right thing to do. Just got to be careful not to get too full.
Deleda finishes off his first over. That is a very good shot, and it goes all the way for 6. Kashif Ali looking to provide some impetus into this Rapids innings, and Deleda, he picks up the wicket, but he also goes for a maximum off the final ball.
It's a good strike. That wasn't really that bad a ball either. It wasn't in the slot by any stretch. The batsman sort of picked that up really well. It was, I think it was a sort of predetermined shot as well. I think Worcester have recognised, the 4 overs in now. They've got 28. This time, during Durham's innings, they were much nearer to having 50 by now. So I think Worcester have realised that they just need to, like you say, they need to pick things up. So I'm not surprised that there was a sort of big shot there. The risk is obviously that if you lose a couple of wickets at this time as well, that puts you right on the back foot. So this is a really big time for Durham. Yeah,
as I mentioned, Durham finished their power play 54 for 2. They brought up the 50 in 5 overs and 4 deliveries. So Rapids are certainly lagging behind. And this is quite the show of faith in Callum Parkinson from Alex Lees. He's going to bowl a 3rd over on the trot here in the power play, which is something a little bit unheard of so far. But Lees likes what he's seeing out there in the middle from his spinner, and that's a very good shot from Josh Cobb. Nice and straight, down the ground, 4 runs.
Yeah, and again, not a bad ball. Sort of just managed to sort of cramp him for room, but really, really well timed. And that's a really good cricket shot. Not trying to hit it too hard, just timed the ball really nicely, and hitting the ball straight down the ground's a good way to go.
Parkinson follows it up with a dot ball, slightly fuller on that one. Doesn't seem to be the spin there for him, but
and this is one of the things that Durham did really well in their innings. If they hit a boundary, that almost inevitably got a single off the next ball to rotate it round.
Yeah.
Next batsman come and have a strike as well. That last ball, obviously, that's just gripped as well. It's bounced and gone past the batsman.
Yeah, Vic mentioned that we might see some grip that might help the spinners. We saw it there, folks, and this one's darted in at the pads, and he's done well to come straight back across. And
ball's definitely holding on the surface, because that one as well, like I said, even though it was bowled quite quickly and quite flat, it did grip on the surface and straightened as well.
Nathan Souter will be licking his lips, ready to bowl on this, and this one, I think, has missed everything and gone through. Thin inside edge. Umpire says 4 runs. Very good set of deliveries there from Parkinson, but just not able to get the final rewards.
Yeah, really well bowled again. Nice, like you say, nice tight lines, sort of leg stump, or even just outside leg. And that's just about beating everybody.
Parkinson ends his 3rd over, slightly more flight. Michael Jones gets fingertips on it, but he can't make a full diving stop, and that is another boundary. Rapids looking to make a quick exit to this power play and get the run rate up. And I have a feeling that this change to the commentary box might bring about a few more puns. I don't envy being Gordon Mucho in this situation.
I think the bowler might just be a little bit disappointed there. He's just given that last one a little bit of flight, and probably bowling it a bit quicker is being the sort of the best way to go there. But he's, like you say, he's just floated that one a little bit and paid the price.
Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Chubb. Yeah, 5 overs gone. The Rapids have moved on to 40 for 1. 1 over left in the power play. Good 3 overs from Callum Parkinson, 0 for 25. Just a little bit tapping that last over. Michael Jones will be disappointed that he didn't stop that to the boundary, and Ben Dorsh's in for the 6th over and the final one of the power play. Back of a length ball to Kashif Ali. Very, very good player, Kashif Ali. Played well to get Worcester over the line in the 4-day game here. Not long, 3 days ago. And he's 10 off 9. He hasn't found the boundary as frequently as Josh Cobb, who's moved on to 13 from 7 balls. Clyde run rate has now gone to 10.2 and over. Dorsh's in. Kashafali looks to give himself some room and a nice shot. Didn't time it all, but all he needed to do was get it over the bowler's head, which he did, and it's run away for 4. Gordon Mutchell and Neil Colleen alongside me. How have you two made the power play?
I think it's been a good power play for Durham. I think what they've done is used the pitch very well. The seamers have, well, Dwarsius has hit the pitch pretty hard, and I think we've seen from spin when they've actually really fired it into the pitch that it's gripped and bounced.
Kashafali moves on to 14 from his 10 balls. This time pitch is hitting, and Kashafali, big swing of the bat, and it's gone off the thick inside edge, and it's run away for 4. 2 men outside the 30-metre circle in this power play. Deep point and just in front of square on the leg side, but no chance of stopping that. And swing hard, and I think he was looking to hit that a little bit straighter, Gordon Mutchell, but if you swing hard, sometimes you get rewarded in not the manner that you're trying to get it in.
Exactly. Fortune favours the brave sometimes.
Exactly.
And again, the one down in this power play, they've obviously targeted this last over, and they're on top of the minute. But a wicket here gets us back on top in the power play. So fingers crossed my commentator's curse continues and we get a wicket.
Change of field. 2 men out on the leg side this time. Josh gone for the short ball. 2 is the call, but I'm not sure Josh Cobb is coming back for the second. Ball's throwing in over the top of the stumps. You mentioned, Kill, they have bowled really well into the surface, but this last, I'd say the last 4 balls, or the 3 balls of the last Parkinson over, and these 4 balls have gone in the Rapids' favour.
Yeah, they have. I think what they've done, they've actually stood a little bit stiller and just tried to play the ball and time it rather than trying to muscle it. I know we've just seen a bit of a rogue shot just before there, but again, their ball into the pitch proves to be very difficult to get away. They're just starting to now take the pace off, and I think after this over, we'll see the pace come completely off the ball.
Yeah, Josh Cobb is somebody who hard-hitting top order batter. He, a little bit like Jason Roy, stands very still. You know, looks to try and hit the ball on the top of the bounce. I know the 2, Jason Roy and Josh Cobb, when they were younger, around about similar age. 2 players very, very well thought of coming through the young England ranks. Very powerful Josh Cobb. Kashafali this time, bouncer from Ben Dorsh, has got it all wrong in a line point of view. And Kashafali has just rolled his wrists, or not looked to keep it down. Didn't need to because fine leg is inside the circle. And the last ball of the power play goes to the boundary, down to fine leg. And after a very, very good opening over from Ben Dorsh's, an expensive one, the last one of the power play, the Rapids are 54 for 1 after 6 overs.
That's it. I think he was going to try and go short there, but he wanted to get a bit straight, more on off stump with his 2 men out at square leg and deep mid wicket. And like you said, he's just got the line wrong there, and that's a good finish to the power play for Worcester.
Yeah, look, they've took a bit of momentum coming out the back end of the power play there, and at 54 for 1, they're actually still very much in this game.
Durham did the same.
Durham did exactly the same. This is a big over. Nathan Souter coming on, he's banker coming on the 7th over, which actually is a really important over in T20 cricket.
It is, yeah, and he's bowled really well so far, as has Souter. He's not, from a wicket point of view, he's got 8 wickets in his 7 innings so far, but I think it's his economy rate. His economy rate's been fantastic. 3 for 23, 1 for 42, 1 for 17, 1 for 34, and 2 for 31, and he always bowls his 4 overs. This time throws up just above the eye line, and a lovely shot from Josh Cobb. Down the ground, 1 bounce, 4, and not looking to hit square of the wicket, making sure that he hits it with a straight bat. And again, just above the eye line. I'm not sure we'll be throwing anything above the eye line on this surface. But Nathan Souter, who has bowled very, very well and very economically so far in the Blast games, has gone for a boundary early. That's better, into the surface.
That shot before there, Harmy, like Killer alluded to there, he wasn't trying to overhit. It was a lovely, just free-flowing swing of the bat. Absolutely beautiful shot.
Cobb 17 from 11. This time he's got his hands free. Got a bit of width. Be disappointed, Josh Cobb. He's got the short boundary, the short pocket, short corner, just to Graham Clark's right. And he's just gone a little bit straight.
Yeah, a bit of a risk there by Nathan Souter. I think that might have been the wrong one. He's just thrown that up a little bit more, and Josh Cobb probably picked that, just didn't quite get a hold of it.
Well, it's 8:20 now here in England. The lights are on. Is there a little bit of dew factor? Is there a little bit of moisture starting to get on the surface, making the ball skid on? No cloths being asked for by any of the fielders. Kashafali shouts 2, and he goes hard, and excellent bit of not only bit of placement from Kashafali into the leg side, an excellent bit of running by the Rapid batsman.
Yeah, I think that's a role now that I think Kashivali's got to play. If he plays that role where he knocks it round, hits the pockets, picks up the 2s, keeps up with the scoring rate, the rest can play around him and give themselves a chance at this game.
Getting into the leg side.
Very clever batting.
You're looking for 2 again. Oh, we've had a slip. Hopefully that's not an injury. Trying to see who that is. I think it's Deleda who's gone to pick it up and throw it, but unfortunately he slipped. End of the over, 7 overs gone. Sauter went for 9 in that over. Kashafali 27 off his 15. Cobb 18 off 12. The Rapids are 63 for 1.
I think that's evidence of a little bit of that dew coming into play. Bastelida just falling over there, and like you said, I think that might just help it skid on the pitch a little bit more and give the Worcester batsmen a chance of hitting through the line.
Durham's leading wicket taker in this tournament so far. 12 wickets from 7 innings bowled. Ben Rain comes in. He's had a wonderful T20 blast. He held his nerve on more than one occasion at the end of the Lancashire and the Yorkshire game in recent victories. Starts with a ball down leg side. There's a big shout, massive shout. Ollie Robinson's not happy. He's got hands on his head. Ben Rain's got the same. It's hit something. The umpire has not given wide, so your guess is as good as mine there.
Yeah, a little bit of a clip off the pad, I think, from what the umpire thinks there. And the Durham players were very confident. Ollie Robinson was really confident, but unfortunately, no decision.
Dot ball at the end of it as Rain comes in. Looking to beat to that 5-6 metre mark that Neil Clean was talking about in the first half, and making sure you hit that deck and you hit that area hard. It's gone a little bit straighter. 3 men out in the deep on the leg side. Deep square, deep mid wicket, long on, long off, deep point are the boundary riders. 4 men inside the circle, short third, backward point, extra cover, short fine leg. Pierce off from Ben Rain. Nice push down the ground from Kashif Ali. He's timed the ball quite nicely, as has Ali. He's played well this season. He's got quite a few runs. He's been in some good situations for Worcester Rapids. You know, somebody that came from the Saka Academy, the South Asian Academy, who done brilliant work in the last few years, getting players into the professional game. Worcester have picked up a good player there. Big shot from Josh Cobb. Ben Rain, hands on head. I think both would be disappointed there, because Josh Cobb will have felt as though he could have whacked that out of the park, and Ben Rain was disappointed that he didn't quite get it underneath his bat.
Yeah, I think, again, that's just evidence of when you lose your shape on a shot on this sort of pitch, it's very difficult to get power on it. And I think it's all about timing and how you can keep that timing on the ball.
There's plenty of good shapes here in the commentary box. Ben Rain comes in again straight. That's the length. That's the line. Talking about shapes, I'm not even looking at Gordon Mitchell. Me and Colleen are in the shape of our lives at the minute for enjoying ourselves. Chubb's nodding his head. I can see out the corner of my eye.
I must admit, I was very apprehensive coming on with you two. You've been quite nice so far.
All I can say is my shirt fits me, Gordon.
And I'm sure Ashley Thorpe is working on his shape in Spain as we speak. Ben Rain comes in. Slower ball, back of the hand. He just waits on it. That split second longer. Plays it out into the offside. The 8th over has gone. Worcester Rapids have moved on to 67 for 1. Cobb 20. Kashif Ali has 29 off his 18 balls. 12 overs remain. 10.3 is the required run rate. They're going along quite nicely here at 8.4. Durham did more or less the same. Waited for that big over and tried to capitalise at the back end. So, Worcester are going along quite nicely here, boys.
Definitely. I think it's a good start for Worcester. Durham will be wanting to get rid of Kashif Ali. We've seen enough of him over the last few days. And I think these two are Durham's best T20 bowlers in the middle overs. So, fingers crossed they can pick us up another couple of wickets like they've done throughout the year.
Yeah, Nathan Southers keeps his stumps in play. That's what I like about him. Down the wicket. Big shot, a long way in the air. Michael Jones is looking at it, and he's waited for it, and he's watched it sail over his head for 6. I didn't think Ali had got it. I didn't think he quite got to the pitch. But it was a fantastic execution. He just kept going with a shot and just kept hitting it up and away. Brilliant 6.
He's got them dancing shoes on, though, Harmy. Look at them Bobby Dazzlers.
He has, and he's dancing very, very nicely with them orange. They'll go well with your attired kilt. Really
well, as long as he doesn't dance like Muchie does with a basketball, we'll be all right.
Yeah, we've got an over and a bit to go yet, but they're very Bobby Dazzlers. Them, they'll go well in a lovely touch into the leg side, and after a boundary, get off strike as quick as you can. And he's played a little gem of an innings here. He started slowly. He hasn't lost any momentum of the team, and he's accessed the boundary, very, very well down the ground. That's the thing. Keep on this pitch. Keep hitting it down the ground. And Nathan Souter comes in. 4th ball. Cobbs looks for the big shot. A lot harder to time when you're cross bats or you're playing across the line. 2 or 3 balls that have been hit down the ground. Ashton Turner hit 2 or 3 down the ground. Ollie Robinson hit it down the ground. Kashafali there. Good shot hitting with a straight bat down the ground. It seems to be easier to time that way rather than hitting it square of the wicket or hitting with a cross bat. Short ball, bang, 6. What a shot. Fantastic shot. Quick feet, quick hands. Talked about them dancing shoes. They got into position very, very quickly, did they there. Hold his pose, waited for the ball to get to the highest point and hit the ball straight into the stand. Pressure on Nathan Souter. 14 off the over so far, and he's still got 1 to go.
Again, this is Worcester's identified this over as that one that's going to be the big over. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try and take this last ball down now as well, just to give that real momentum switch.
Yeah, this could be the 20 over that we had in that first innings that Durham identified, Ashton Turner, Ollie Robinson identified. This time just clipped it into the leg side. 2 is the call. Can Cobb get back? The answer is no. Excellent fielding from Baz Delader out there. 9 overs gone. The Rapids have moved on to 82 for 1 in a very, very good position. 9.5, 9.9 is the required run rate. 9.1 is the current run rate. And Durham's trump cards of squeezing in the middle of Nathan Souter and Ben Rain. Well, Ben Rain bowled a very, very good first over, but Souter was very, very expensive there.
Definitely. I don't think you can underestimate Souter's energy there to try and stop that second run as well. When you've got someone chasing, you're not quite sure how far away he is from the ball. And those little things that we're going to have to hang on to, because it looks like it's going to be another nail biter.
Rain comes in for the first ball, the 10th over. At the back of the hand.
Get out.
Flashed it down the ground. An excellent stop. Excellent stop down there in the deep. Good teamwork by long on and long off.
Yeah, that's your big fast bowler down there, Ben Dwarsius as well. So that's a great bit of fielding just to save the boundary, which again would have given them momentum at the start of the over. And brilliant work from your teammate.
Pace off from Ben Rain. First ball. Good shot from Kashafali. He's moved on to 45 from 24. Yes. Oh, bowled him. Nip back through the gate. And when you need a wicket, Durham's lead man, 12 wickets to make that 13. And the ball looked as though it just nipped back. That was pace on. And it's taken out off stump between bat and pad of Kashafali, who played a very, very fine innings. 45 off 25 balls. And a big, big wicket for Durham as the Rapids are 82 for 4. 84 for 2.
Yeah, that's a beautiful ball from Ben round there. Just looks like he's just ran his fingers over the ball a little bit there. Just nipped back through the gate, hitting that difficult length again on the pitch and causing problems. And that's a huge wicket. They were just starting to build a little bit of momentum coming out of the first 10 overs. And I think now they've probably got to just rebuild a little bit again with these two before they can mount another charge.
Yeah, and that's where Durham were very, very good. When the new batter came in, the man who had been in the middle for any length of time, he was the one that took over, kept the scoring rate going, kept the intensity going while the new batter came in and felt his way, got his singles and looked to kick on through the first 3 or 4 balls. So it'd be Durham's important to identify what happened in that first innings and you see Adam Hose is the man that come into the crease, captained in the last game in place of Brett D'Oliveira, but extra cover. Alex Lee's mid-wicket has come in tight on one. And a good shot first up, down the ground, and getting off strike is so important when you come in a T20 game, making sure that you keep the momentum going, keep rotation of strike, and not have 2, 3, 4 dot balls and 2 wickets in a game can really derail the teams.
Absolutely, and I think this is a big partnership for Worcester. These are 2 experienced players, 2 match winners for them. So if we can sneak another one now.
Pace off again, Cobb into the leg side. 2 is the call. I'm not sure they're going to make 2. Good fielding good intensity from Durham on the leg side. That's 4 from 4 in this 10th over. 2 balls to go from halfway. 105 to win. 10.2 is the asking rate. Ben ran 1 for 8 off his 1.4 overs. Oh, good length again. Really good length again.
That was almost an action replay of the ball that got the wicket, and very unfortunate that that's got an inside edge and gone for 2. But great bowling by Ben Wren here, just using the conditions, using the fact that it's skidding on a little bit, just nipping it around, bowling a bit of wobble seam here. Excellent skills.
Much do you want to give them a curse before you depart?
Nah, they're not. We'll never get a wicket in here.
No kidding.
Nah, no chance.
In Wren, last ball of what's been a very, very productive over. Another inside edge into the leg side. 10 overs gone. Worcester Rapids are 89 for 2. For the next 5 overs, Simon Brown's alongside Rob.
Cheers, Tommy. Yeah, I think Killer just made a really good point. This is a really, really important partnership for Worcestershire. They really need to. They've got to keep the scoreboard ticking over. They really can't afford to lose too many more wickets in the sort of the next few overs. They need these 2 batsmen to really establish themselves and start to take the game back to Durham a little bit. I've been really impressed with the way Durham have rotated the bowlers. Ben Rain, we know, is a great performer in this format. Mixes his pace up. Obviously, he's got a big wicket there. Worcestershire need to sort of fight back here.
Indeed. Changing bowling. Baz Delayed is going to replace Nathan Souter from the Finkel end down below us. Souter's not quite managed to hit the highs that he has done over the last couple of seasons, really, in the blast. Yet, Delayed had picked up the early wicket. Back in and turned away to Parkinson for a single. It did feel like that partnership was one that if both batters were able to take it into the 15th, 16th over and still be together, that they could then just explode at the end and carry the Rapids over the line. So really huge for Durham that they broke that partnership and were able to get one end open. Josh Cobb's still there though, 22 from 17. Hoiked leg side short of Clark. Another rotating of the strike.
Just wonder if the sort of early evening, not due as such, but just if there's a little bit more moisture around now, because the seamers have just made the ball move around a little bit more off the seam than was happening earlier on in the innings. Interesting that we've got seam at both ends now, which I think at half time we probably wouldn't have expected to see that at this stage.
Full, well dug out. Good cricket all round from...
Fired right into the block hole there by Delayed. Really well bowled. He's got long on back here, so he's got some protection if he does want to pitch it up. The likelihood is that if the batsman's going to look to try and strike the ball down the ground.
He's just going to get a bit more protection here as well. Alex Lees brings Parkinson into the ring and sends Michael Jones back.
Yeah, which would suggest he's going to try and bowl perhaps just a little bit fuller than he has done previously. And that would suggest to me that they think there might be an opportunity to take a wicket by pitching the ball up a bit.
3 men back on the leg side, and he goes for the ramp shot. Very innovative, but well seen by, I think it's Ben Dorshus, who's on the ring at short, fine leg, and was able to cut off before he was able to get to the boundary.
Yeah, that was...
Batter looks quite bemused he's not picked up 4.
I think the bowler and the batter are both having a bit of a laugh about that. It was probably the ugliest execution of the ramp shot I've seen in a long time. But the batter, to be fair to the bowler, I think he took the pace off the ball when he saw him moving. So fair play to counter the shot.
Just outside the stretched arms of Deleda, but it has been a very good return over for the Dutchman. Just the singles from it. 4 singles and a dot. Can he end this over? It's there's so many things we over talk about in T20, but the ability to get out of an over when it's been a good one, just ending an over.
It's so easy to concede off the last ball of the over to go for a boundary, and it's a massive difference if you go for 6 in over or suddenly it's let's just try it again.
An LBW appeal out of hope rather than expectation. Leg by signalled, but that is, as we talked about, that's the end to the over that Durham would have wanted. No boundaries from Deleda in his return. I wonder if Alex Lees will now stick with him from this end. 94 for 2, Rapids, 9 overs left.
It's a really good call, actually, that, because what do you do? You just bowled a really good over there. But one of the things that I think the captain has done really well is rotate the bowling so the batsmen don't get to look at the same bowler for too long. I must admit, I would be tempted to change the bowling again from this end.
Well, we've got Nathan Salter who's going to switch ends.
Yeah, just keep mixing it up. Really good idea.
I think he's got the longer boundary towards Bannatynes as well. I think that's maybe factoring into Lees' thinking, giving him the maximum amount of protection that he can.
Yeah, I think the Worcestershire spinners, when they bowled from that end, made it quite difficult when they took the pace off the ball.
Well, Hayden Walsh, I think, started from that end and he did pretty well. Salter in now. Start off with a single down to Ben Dorcius. Yeah, again, we've seen it both sides, a heavy leg side field with these with the outside fielders trying to tempt the batter, say we don't think you can, if you want to take it on, we don't think that you've got it. And I guess with the boundaries being in as well, kind of it just adds into that bit of mind games. So that one's back of a length, and Salter's, I think, a bit lucky to only get away with a single. That one, not his best delivery.
When the ball's in tight like that, it's so much harder to get real pace on the ball when you can't get your arms free. If the ball's just outside off stump, you can really get your arms at it, and you can hit the ball in a much wider arc as well. So you're right, we're definitely sort of forcing the ball into the onside, which I think is right. I think that's the right way to go.
Hoik leg side, is it a catch? It is! Very good work on the boundary by Colin Ackerman. We've seen that now in the game. Really taking the catch right on the boundary, throwing the ball up, jumping back over the boundary rope, and then taking the catch inside the field of play. Good awareness. Adam Hose has to go, and Nathan Salter, a change of ends, brings a change of luck.
It was almost as if the batsman and the bowler actually had been listening to his commentator there, because
I promise you we have no feed into Alex Lees' ear or whatever.
Yeah. No, Souter managed to, like you say, cramp the batsman. He actually did really well to get that much on it from a ball that was sort of fired into his legs, and I think it was probably a googly as well, so it was spinning back down towards the leg side as well.
Seems to be his best delivery.
It is.
I think he's worked really hard on his.
Yeah, this format,
really,
definitely.
I mean, he led the Durham bowlers last year in terms of wicket takers in the blast in. Yeah. Started off at Northants with a 5 throws, just seems to have carried on a bit of a roll from there.
Yeah, no, he's bowled well. His control's been good. And like I said, that sort of spinning the ball back into the batsman's legs to cramp him up. And again, I mean, that was a great catch. Really sort of skillful to get the ball, and knowing that you're going to go out of the field of play to lob the ball back in and then come back and get it. It almost seems commonplace now, but it's still really skillful to pull that off.
New batter for Worcestershire. He gets a fine edge to start with. It will run away for 4. Ethan Brooks is the new man at the crease. He picked up a thickish edge first ball.
But bowler will sort of be kicking himself a little bit there, because it was a really good ball, and he gave him the opportunity to drive as well. He could have got him, but frustrating that he's gone for 4 first ball.
100 up for the Rapids, just shy of 12 overs completed for them. Reverse sweep and a very good stop there from Ashton Turner to keep that to just a single, otherwise that was going to run away to the boundary. Very good. I think Durham's sense here that wicket has brought an opportunity to squeeze the run rate a bit more. It's already up at an 11 and over.
Definitely, yeah.
Requires rate.
Definitely trying. And fair play to Worcester. The batter who's just come in has been really positive. First 2 balls there, playing aggressive shots from ball 1.
They haven't, time's not really not on their side anymore. They have to try and get up there. They still need another 80 odd. That's a big swing. A half-hearted LBW appeal, and
just lying down the leg side, just tight line, forcing the batsman into the onside. Good bowling again. Probably
Yeah, one boundary off that over, but the wicket as well, which is what will please Nathan Souter and Alex Lees the most. And it looks like Callum Parkinson's going to have his final 6 deliveries from down in front of us.
Yeah. Again, I like this. I think good captaincy. It's show the batsman somebody new. Bring a new bowler on. It would have been really tempting to keep Delete on after the last over, but I think it's the right thing to do to swap it around.
Also, it gives the option of Deleda towards the back end at the def where, you know, it could be needed. But Parkinson here, 3 overs, none for 26 so far, but all 3 of them were in the power play. He now has more protection out for this final over. Immediate sweep, and he was slow to set off on the single. It will be signalled as, I think it's going to be leg byes.
I think probably just outside the line.
There was no signal from the umpires. It's gone down as a run. Brings Cobb into Parkinson's eyesight. Again, the 3 men out on the leg side waiting for that big shot. It's going to go that way. And Nathan Souter has put it down. Huge opportunity for Durham.
Not an easy catch. It's quite low. But getting 2 hands to it like that, you would back him. He's a really good fielder. You would back him to have caught that.
No,
he'd be disappointed.
He produced 2 brilliant bits of fielding against Yorkshire.
Yeah, he did.
This one's high, but it's going to land safe. Neither Jones or Souter can get there in time. Durham will be hoping that dropped catch doesn't.
Like I say, he'd be disappointed with that, but they're not easy by any
It's
stretch.
also important not to dwell on it. He needs to, you know, he'll probably be bowling next over. He's got to keep his head. That's a big slog sweep. He's got full reward for it as well. Cobb eyeing up the gap out on the leg side between the 2 fielders out there, and he's picked it perfectly. And Rapids, he's trying to keep them intact.
A fantastic contact from a really difficult position to hit the ball hard.
He's pulled that from outside off stump, and he's absolutely smashed it over to the leg side.
He hit it really well.
And now he backs it up with another edge that's going to go for 4. The dropped catch, 2 boundaries follow.
The bowler's going to feel a bit aggrieved there because he's bowled that well. It's turned and bounced. Batsman again has to. When batsman's playing sort of big shot, trying to hit the ball down the ground, and just ended up with a big thick edge where it's gone down to 3rd man. So the bowler will feel a bit aggrieved about that one.
Final ball of Parkinson's spell. None for 39 so far, but that's not telling the full story of his exploits. He wants to end well here, and he will with a dot. 114 for 3.
Yeah, he's been a bit unfortunate there. He could have quite easily picked up a couple of wickets during that spell. Like I say, he's genuinely spun the ball past the bat a few times as well, which we didn't see much in the Durham innings. So unfortunately, he's actually been the victim of bowling some good balls as well, because that last one that went down to 3rd man for 4 was actually because it was a good ball. So we've got leg spin again.
Yeah, it's going to be Souter. Yep. It's going to be Souter to bowl out. So the spin option, the frontline spin options for Durham, I should say, are now going to be out of the equation after this over. Still got Colin Ackerman and Ashton Turner to turn to if Alex Lees wants to go that way. Full from Souter, turned around the corner, and a very good stop by Parkinson. Keeps it to just a single. Do you reckon we'll see part-time spin now, or do you think he'll trust his trust Ben Rain, Baz Deleda, Ben Dorcius?
I just suspect that because the ball seems to have just nipped around a little bit more for the seamers, we're likely to see the frontline bowlers come back, I think.
Full again, and Cobb eyeing up the leg side, not able to fully connect.
Yeah, I think he was looking to try and sort of go mid on, long on, down the ground, but just ended up being a bit of a heave and a thickish inside edge out to square leg there. But again, it's the pressure and the run rate. They really can't afford dot balls, and they need to try and hit boundaries.
That required run rate now ticking up towards 11.5 for the Rapids. Just dropped, but it's not going to be 2, so that's a good result. A good result for Durham and for Souter. 1 for 34 from his 3.5 so far.
Yeah, but batsman just trying to drop the ball into the gap and get 2 there, but it was just a bit too square.
Punched, but there is cover out there. It will just be another single. 118 for 3. If you remember, Durham were able to do most of their damage at the back end of the innings.
Yep.
And obviously, Worcestershire's lines kind of just went missing. So, Worcestershire want to avoid that. This should be out. And it is! Nathan Salter picks up a wicket with his penultimate ball of the match. He makes up for his dropped catch. Entices Ethan Brooks into a big drive, doesn't get all of it, and Ashton Turner runs around and takes a simple catch. Rapids lose their 4th. Nathan Salter's on the board.
I think Batsman was just trying to sort of go inside out a little bit there, give himself some room and hit the ball into the offside. Didn't really get into a great position to do it, but again, it's the same old thing. It's just that run rate ticking up. The batsmen, they've got to take some risks. They can't afford to let the run rate sort of tick up much more than this. And it's likely that you're going to pick up wickets in that way.
Gareth Roderick is the next batter for the Rapids. As you mentioned there, the run rate is now just starting to become even more of a factor.
Yeah, I mean, Worcestershire need a hero. They need somebody to play really big innings for them. I mean, what's Cobb's got 38 now, is it?
Yeah.
They really need him to bat through the innings and make a real score for them if they're going to push for this to win this game.
Salter's last ball, again, still 3 men out on the leg side. And it looks like it's Bazdaleda at deep point. And he'll end it with a single. Salter finishes with 2 for 36 from his 4 overs.
Yeah. He'd be disappointed with the drop catch, but I think he's done well there. I think he's bowled nicely.
119 for 4, chasing 191. I think at this point you'd rather be in Alex Lees' shoes.
I would. I said the same thing at the halfway stage in the Yorkshire game, that I would have preferred to have been fielding second. You've always got options when you're fielding. If one of your bowlers is not having a great day, you can always do something about it. When you're chasing, it's 2 against 11. Like you said, I think to be fair to Lees as well, I think he's captained this game well. I thought he captained the Yorkshire game really well. I'm really impressed with his bowling changes and his field settings, and I think he's done it well again here today.
It's going to be Bazdaleda to come back. Callum Parkinson bowled out last over, so Bazdaleda is back for his 3rd. 1 for 14 so far from his couple overs. Starts full and picked Lees straight out at short extra cover.
So from Durham's perspective here as well, new batsmen just come in. Really important, try and keep the new batsman on strike. Make it difficult. If you're going to lose, make somebody else win the game. Don't let the established batsman have too much of the strike if you can help it. It's not easy, but if you can sort of bowl 2 or 3 balls at the new batsman each over, then like you said, that really piles the pressure on.
Clipped away leg side, but there is a man out there, and I think it's Ben Dorshus out there who's probably thinking about what he's going to be bowling towards the back end of this innings. We'll keep it to just a single.
Yep.
See Delayed now starting to tinker with, well, now Cobb's on strike. They'd very obviously got a plan for both of these batters, and Delayed
yeah, you can see
tinkers with his field.
You can see the fielders that are in the circle actually just staying right on the edge of the circle now. They're not attempting to try and save a run, whereas when the new batsman's on strike, they are.
A full
really
ball,
well.
Nicely driven, but it's just a single. And if we're going to be critical here, singles are not what's needed.
Again, it's really good game plan. They set the field, set the 2 mid on and mid off, right back, long on, long off, ball full, ball straight. Batsman, played quite a nice shot, hit it down the ground, but it's only a single. If you're going to take more of a risk, he kind of needs to try and do some sort of paddle shot or try and clip it into the leg side, which increases the risk.
Attempted move over to the offside from the batter, and he's very fortunate that he's not made to be look like a 4. I think Delayed maybe saw it coming and took all the pace off that one.
Yeah, again, good bowling. I completely understand from the batsman's perspective. There is a big gap. If you can get the ball behind square on the leg side, there's pretty much it's really open down there. But if the bowler sees you coming and takes the pace off it, then there's not an awful lot you can do because you can't really hit the ball very hard down there.
2 singles, 2 dots. This one's into the surface and I think is hit Roderick on the helmet. So Physio's been signalled for. He'll go through all the appropriate checks.
I think it was actually almost a bit of a sort of slow ball bouncer as well. I don't think
Yeah, it was.
There's an awful lot of venom. It just sort of lobbed up a little bit.
Yeah, you see it there. He's signalling that.
Yeah, just got to get it checked out. Excuse me, it's the right thing to do. Got to make sure he's okay. But I'm sure he is.
So just over 5 overs left. We'll bring in Harmy and the crew to round off the game soon. But just your final thoughts. How do Worcestershire win the game from here?
Like you say, you need a hero. Somebody's got to play out of their skin for the rest of the game. And Cobb is the obvious one who's in and established now. He's just coming up to 39, just coming up to 40. They need him to play a massive innings for the next sort of 5 overs, really. They've got to make sure they get him a lot of the strike as well. The batsmen who are in with him can't afford to face too many balls, and it's putting a lot of pressure on him. But that's the way that they win the game if they're going to win it from here.
And from Durham's point of view, is it just keep going as they are?
Yeah, I think so. I think you back your frontline bowlers. I know like you say, you've got the alternative for some of your sort of, let's call them part-time spinners. I don't think there's any need for that. I think you've got your experienced seam bowlers to finish the game off for you here. I would back the 3 seamers to win the game from here.
Deleda has 1 ball left of his 3rd over. It's been a very good one so far. Just 2 signals and 3 dots. Again, can he get out of it successfully? Roderick just 2 off 5.
Well bowled, really well bowled again.
Full and clipped. They'll look for 2, but the fielding is good and tight, and it'll just be a single. Just 3 off that over. Durham applying the squeeze. Rapids 122 for 4, and to take you through to the end, I'll leave you in the capable hands of Steve Harmison.
Good bowling again there. Got the ball right up in the block hole.
Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Chubb. Yeah, I'd see. What do we need? 89, 69 to win. My eyes have gone. 5 overs remaining. 13.8 is the run rate required. The Rapids are going along at 8.1 at this moment in time. Cobb's going nicely. 39 off 28, and it looks as though he is going to have to be the Rapids match winner if they are to get in a position to be over the line. Excellent over from Baz Diller. He's got 1 for 17 off his 3 overs. Sauter was excellent in his 4 overs, and Dorcius, Durham's overseas player, comes in round the wicket. Roderick gives himself some room, and he's flashed it. And if you're going to flash hard. And it's gone between backward point and short third, and it flies away to the boundary.
Yeah, just a lucky boundary there. But the one thing I would say, it was length.
Yeah.
And if you look at the over before, Bastilleida wasn't afraid to go to his death skills, and we're not at the death, which is really clever that he's recognised the moment and tried to shut it down with a really good over of death skills. And it's no surprise that he nailed them. I actually watched him practice those yesterday, and what he practiced, he's just put into practice.
Yeah, he's very, very experienced bowler at the death, is Deleda, but so is Dorcius as well, and he's got Durham over the line a couple of times, and this time he's gone length. And it's just sat up, really. Roderick just leant back, and he's flat batted it over the top of extra cover, and Durham's overseas player started with 2 boundaries off consecutive balls to start this 16th over. And when Rapids needed a good over, well, this is a fantastic start.
Yeah, just using the wrong side of the pitch here and getting hit to the shorter side, which is not what he's got the field set for.
No, he's got 4 men inside the circle on the offside. This time, that's better. Not only did he follow him with the line, but the length was a lot better. Tried to get underneath the bat. 4 men on the leg side field. 4 men on the leg side boundary. That's more like it, bowling at your field. You in yesterday, practicing?
I came in with Mark Wood just to start him off with his red ball stuff ahead of the and playing hopefully in the later parts of the Test series. And some of the guys were in there practicing. It was nice to see them.
Oh, bowled him. He's held his length a little bit fuller than the previous 2 that he'd bowled. Length this time is a lot quicker, a lot flatter. And unfortunately for Roderick, he's just lost his ship.
Yeah, and that was
Josh Cobb just lost his shape, trying to hit it too hard, and stumps everywhere.
Yeah, the established player in Josh Cobb, and it's going to make it tough for anybody coming in and starting now on this pitch. They're going to have to risk it. It's at that stage of the game.
Yeah, 13 and over. You had to go, didn't he? You don't blame Josh Cobb for having a go. They've got 9 off the first 3 balls, put pressure on Durham, but they need to. 13, nearly 14 runs per over. 4.2 overs to go, and it is literally a big shot territory now for the Worcester Rapids, and Josh Cobb was the man that would been in and held it all together. But he's gone. Ed Pollock comes out, more of a top order batter, but like Michael Jones in that first half, Worcester Rapids have identified him as a finisher, left-handed batter. Somebody who I think is a very, very good player, very aggressive, top-order red ball player. I've not seen him play a great deal of white ball cricket, but I've seen him a bit in the red ball game. He's a very, very good player at the top of the order, very powerful. And wow, that's power straight away. Not only power, that's timing. What a shot that is.
Yeah, again, look, he's a very, very powerful player. Typical small left-hander, very good, cuts, pulls, picks the ball up well. And actually, I quite liked what Durham were doing there. If you looked at the offside field, they'd really crept in and tried to create that sort of cordon where they could build pressure. Dwasis just didn't deliver the ball to that field.
Yeah, the ball wasn't there. The plan was right, but unfortunately the execution was poor. This time full. Oh, he's getting lucky there. I think Dwasis is getting lucky there. Robinson chases after it.
Bit of simulation there, Steve.
Little bit, just a little bit. He's got a leg by for it, and
I think the umpire's just having a quiet word there. Just maybe it's a bit of a laugh, but
yeah, he's lucky there. I thought that could easily have gone for 4, and it was a full toss down leg side. I think you meant Ollie Robinson diving for a ball when he wasn't anywhere near it and trying to fool the batter when he was looking to come back for 2. The umpire has had a quiet word with,
I think he's just telling him he tripped up.
Young Oliver, and Oliver's just said he tripped up. Slippy surface out there. Umpire give him the benefit of doubt. Rule is you're not allowed to dive for the ball like that, look as though you've got it, and fool the batters. And umpires just did the right thing and have a quiet word. Ben Rain comes on for the 17th over. Oh, just taking the pace off the ball. Quite there for Pollock. Timed it. Beauty. Pull shot. Pick up pull shot in the very, very first ball of his innings.
Yeah, I think these two batters are going to almost have to set themselves as if they're playing spin here.
Yeah. Play for the slower ball, because Ben Rain is a master, a very, very experienced character at this part of the game. Knows his stuff. Captain will not be in his ear. He'll know exactly what's happening. He knows where his fields. He knows when he's wanting to bowl to his fields, and that is picked up into the leg side, and that's gone all the way for 6. That's a fantastic shot there from Roderick. He's played some absolute beauty so far. He moves on to 18.
Again, that's exactly what we've just chatted about there. He's banked on that being a slow ball. Yeah. Set himself well outside off stump and looked to pick that up over the leg side. And
he's gone with the angle, hasn't he? He's got himself in a good position early. I think Ben Rain would have seen Roderick go down onto one knee, but because of the angle and the way the ball was delivered towards Roderick, he could get his hands free to just pick it up into the leg side and find the gap between fine leg and deep square leg, who was just behind square. Very, very fine bit of batting.
Yeah, I think it might be time now for Ben Rain to go to his actual death plan.
Yeah.
And try and get it under the bat and use the offside towards the pavilion.
And that's the key for Ben Rain. In why it's made him so good as a T20 bowler. In the power play at the start, he's tried to hit the top of the bat, which is that 6 metre length, 6 metre mark, trying to hit the splice of the bat, bowling a heavy ball and hit the death, trying to bowl under the bat, trying to get underneath it. And he's been so good over so many years for Durham and for Leicester. That's another pace off the ball. Excellent take from Ollie Robinson. How that has not hit the stumps.
Yeah, it's just cramped him for room. That he's given himself room outside leg side, looking to target the offside, and he's just followed him, took the pace off the ball, and it's just skidded off the pitch a little.
Yeah, 48 runs to win, 3.3 overs to get them in. Roderick 18 off 11. This time he's waited for it. Picked it up into the leg side. Baz Deleda takes a comfortable catch. He took a quick look at where his feet were, knew he was inside the rope, taking the catch just round about eye level as he was little bit off the floor. 2 hands and a very, very big wicket. A good catch, good bit of bowling. And I think for the Rapids' point of view, I think that might be get all she wrote.
Yeah, they've still got a couple of players to come in here, though. Tom Taylor hasn't come in yet, who strikes a very clean ball. And they'll be saving him. This is Matthew Waite, who again can bat.
Yeah, Waite can bat. Good player. Went to York when I went to Yorkshire to help Darren Goff out for that couple of months. Matthew Waite, talented all-rounder. Didn't want to sit in the second team. Decided that a chance at Worcester on loan. Give it everything I've got, and he's had an excellent time that he's been at Worcester, in the wickets, in the runs. I think he's a very, very good county cricketer, and somebody who's going to have to hit the ground running here. 143 for 6 this moment, 3.2 overs to go, 48 required on the Rapids, and he's nicked it. And if you're going to swing hard. Thick outside edge, down to third, and when the man's inside the circle, it's 4 runs.
Yeah, this game's just ebbing and flowing a little bit here. They just keep getting that boundary, which is keeping them sort of in the hunt. And I think Durham have just got to be careful that they don't get too many of those.
Yeah, the Lancashire game went that way. The Lancashire game did go that way, and so did the Yorkshire game. Both games won by 2 runs and 3 runs. Durham held their nerve in the end. I think they were well out of it. Lancashire, nobody gave them a prayer, and they got right down to the last over. So Worcester will feel as though there is history and they're still in the game. I'd agree they're in the game if they were 4 down, but I think 6 down, I think it's still a big ask. That's the end of the 17th over. The Rapids are 148 for 6, needing 43 off 18 balls. Like I said, 6 wickets down, Kill. You feel Durham now, if they're not in that winning position or more or less there, they're 1 wicket away from it.
Yeah, you've got an over each from, you've got Bastolida coming on now, Ben Wren will bowl another one this end, and then Ben Dwarsius, he'll finish it off at the far end.
So it's experience, it's seam, and it's, I would imagine they'll use their Yorkers. And this is where I think Worcester really, lost the plot a bit in that first half with their Yorkers, low full tosses. Michael Jones, this time he's gone for the slower ball into length, and Michael Jones capitalised when they didn't quite nail the Yorker.
Yeah, I think that's very clever bowling from Bastolida to bowl his slow ball first ball, knowing that he's got the big side to the leg side. Batsman probably is expecting the Yorker, and I think from a batter's point of view, we spoke about it early, they've almost got to set themselves for the slow ball and react to the quicker ball.
You've been in this position many, many times for Durham. Deleda comes in, and swing and a miss, more pace on it. When you're in this position as Baz Deleda, Ben Dorsius, and more Ben Wren, your style of bowling like Ben Wren, taking pace off and spear it into that Yorker. What's going through the bowler's mind in that position? It's setting up the 6 balls of the over.
To be honest, from my point of view, I just backed what was my best ball, which was my Yorker. And I'd try and get as many of them out of the over as possible. Try and read the situation. If there was a batter at the other end, came on strike, I'd then use my slow ball very early.
This time, big shot down the ground. It's gone all the way. Hasn't quite nailed the Yorker. Pace on this time. And Matthew Wade has just gone straight. And like we've seen so many times tonight, that if you hit the ball with a straight bat and you try and hit it down the ground, you've got more chance of timing it properly and getting it all the way. And that's what happened there. The Rapids 150 have come up, 17.3 overs, 37 required from, 15 balls. This time, short ball. Quick look at the umpire. Matthew Waite's looking at one of the umpires, looking at each other. Steve O'Shaughnessy, who's at square leg, is having none of it. He's quite happy that ball didn't go over the required height. And a good dot ball to Durham. Good dot ball to Baz Deleda, and what Durham needed after that big 6 in the boundary.
Yeah, 2 good balls here, and it's making it very difficult. If these 2 balls can go for 2 boundaries, they're still in the hunt.
Game on. Yeah, Deleda, is he going to go to that Yorker? He wants this time pace off into the leg side. Fielder sets himself, and that's gone. I think it's Nathan Souter out there in the deep, one of Durham's best fielders.
Yeah, I think it was Ackerman actually.
Is it Ackerman that's there? We're a long, long way. Kill, your more experienced eyes than mine. Your glasses are better than mine. But nevertheless, it's a good catch. It was a good ball. Pace off the ball into the big side. making Matt Wade had to hit so cleanly. Unfortunately, he's managed to pick Ackerman out in the deep, just inside the rope. And I think that's it for the Worcester Rapids. 154 for 7. Needing 37 to win off 14 balls. New batsman Tom Taylor. Killer, here's your man.
Yeah, I feel like in a way they've actually left him too late here. Yeah. I feel he could have come in probably when Brooks came in.
Yeah.
The game was still in the balance. He gets away with a few lusty blows. And
they needed an injection, didn't they?
Yeah.
When Brooks came in, they possibly needed that little bit of an injection. But unfortunately for Worcester, very good side, young side, youthful side, missing their overseas. They're 9th in the table and possibly going to fall short here. Pearce off again from Deleda into the leg side. 2 is the cry, but
that's a very good over considering the middle ball went for 6.
It is. It's a brilliant over. A fantastic over, and he's bowled well at the death in the times that's been asked of him, has Baz Deleda so far in this competition. Bear in mind he was away for the World Cup. He bowled in the game against Yorkshire. He only bowled 1 over, but he came on. I think he came on the 18th, the 17th or the 18th over. I think there was George Drizzle had bowled 3 overs for 33 or 34. And they needed that 1 over, and Deleda came and bowled a beauty towards the end of the game. And he has just done that there. 7 off the over, 18 overs gone, 155 for 7, 36 required from 12 balls.
Well, this over's got to go for 20 plus, and you're hitting to the shorter boundary, but Ben Rain's going to use all of his experience.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ben Rain's gone for 20 plus many times in his T20 Blast career. Pearce off it, big shot from Taylor, and a swing and a miss, and one of Worcester's famous son was one of our early coaches. He used to tell me, Mr. Harmison, and that was Mr. Gifford, you can't hit it if you're not looking at it. And I don't think Mr. Taylor was looking at it there. I think he was looking at the sky when the ball went past him. It was a good bit of bowling to start the over from Ben Rain, and again, Pearce off the ball. Good length again.
It's almost like that slow ball first ball was a surprise to the batter, which anybody that watches any of Ben Rain will know that that's what he's going to bowl there.
Pearce off is the key in this, and just asking the batter, especially when he's come in, sit in the dugout for the best part of 17 and a half overs, to come on and put Pearce on, keep your shape, time it perfectly from ball 1. It's a huge ask. Again, Pearce off, this time gone into the leg side. Fielder comes at it, just dropped short. I think Callum Parkinson's looking at that all the way, thinking, I'm going to have to dive, and he bailed out just to the last minute to make sure he didn't do himself any mischief, because that could have ended up in the bowler's face there. That was a big shot from Pollock. Didn't quite get it. Got a top edge. And again, Pearce off from Ben Rain is suiting him well. Just line, that's all that was. Just the simple line. He knows it, Ben Rain. Gone down onto one knee. Very nice timing from Taylor, but ball just going into the pads, clipped into the leg side, and third, fine leg inside the circle.
Yeah, he was just trying to get it up there full. Pace on, yeah, which again, kind of when pace has been on, it hasn't worked tonight.
No.
Unless it's been absolutely nailed as a Yorker.
It seems as though the pace on has the line has struggled. They've struggled to get the line right when they've had pace on. The lengths haven't been too bad, but line has been the key. This time pace off. That's a well-timed hit into the leg side. But unfortunately, as good a timing as it was, it's gone straight to Baz Deleda, and the Netherlands international, having taken the catch 2 overs ago, is not going to miss out there. An excellent catch just above his head. And Tom Taylor's innings of 6 has ended. 4 balls he faced. And as Vindaloo is being blasted around the seat unique of Riverside, 30 runs to win. Seems a long, long way and out of reach for the Worcester Rapids. It's been an excellent game of cricket, one that I think Durham have deserved to win, because I think they've held their nerve in the pressurised situations. Whenever they've lost a wicket, they didn't I don't think they're sort of cracked under pressure at all, Durham. And I think they've held their nerve, and they've getting themselves in a position to just do enough with the ball.
Yeah, they've done the same with bat and ball, really. Whenever they've put a partnership together, they haven't panicked. They've just kept doing their job and kept executing their plans. And they did the same with the bat, like you said. They didn't panic if they lost a wicket. They kept building and then went again. And it's put them in a really good position, and a game which they should close out.
And Walsh Jr. comes in, pulls it into the leg side. Big shot into the leg side. They're going to run 2. Ben ran from around the wicket.
And just looking around the county scores there as well, it's going to put them in a really good position. There's a really good game going on at Birmingham where Yorkshire are chasing 2-1-4, but are 154 for 3 after 15. So that game's
That's
right
getting
on.
the balance. That's game on.
Notts Leicester looks like being rained off, and Lancashire Northampton have been rained off. So it puts Durham right in the top 4.
For Durham's game against Notts, which got rained off, and they only got 1 point each. That puts Durham, well in. They'll go above Northampton,
possibly joint second,
possibly above Leicester, and they will be joint second with Lancashire, depending on how the Birmingham Bears go. But there's still an over to go. Dorcius with the ball in hand. 28 runs required. Ed Pollock is on strike. Can he do the unthinkable? Keep your foot behind the line, Ben Dorcius. Starts off with a single. And as long as he keeps his foot behind the line and 5 legitimate deliveries are bowled, then you'd think that's it, game over, and Durham take the 2 points. Been a good crowd in. Been very, very well supported, this T20 blast so far. I think it was 6,000 against the Vikings in Yorkshire 2 weeks ago. A game against Notts coming up in a week's time in the middle of the test match. Northampton as well come here. Short ball this time. Hayden Walsh Jr. into the leg side, and another excellent catch in the deep. And it's that man again, I think. I think it's Baz Deleda who runs in, steadies himself, and takes a very, very comfortable catch. That's a hat-trick of catches for Deleda in the deep in the last 12 balls.
Yeah, Bass has had a good game tonight. He batted very well alongside Michael Jones at the end. He's bowled some very intelligent overs tonight and fielded exceptionally well.
Yeah, he has. He just that. Walsh goes for 2 off just 2 balls, 164 for 9. We did say 20-30 short was the Rapids, and that's proven to be the case. Durham have just done enough with the ball. I think it's been a good performance. I don't think it's been Durham's best performance with the ball so far in the Vitality Blast, but all they needed was to do just enough. When you get a score of 190 on the board, it's about getting over the finishing line, and I think that's what Durham have done really, really well here. Dorcius in, short ball, top edge, and that's gone for 4. Straight over the top of Robinson's head. Finch is the man who swings hard. A well-directed short ball from around the wicket. And unfortunately for Ollie Robinson, it's gone flying straight over his head. And it sets Durham up quite nicely. They've obviously finished here. They go to Northampton, who Durham will probably leapfrog over tonight. They go there on Sunday. Dorcius in, this time goes full. He goes straight, but not straight enough.
Yeah, very well bowled though, right up there on the crease line, and again he's just shown his death skills here again at the end. But like you said, it puts Durham in a really good position. It means other teams are now chasing them rather than them chasing other teams going into these 3 big games next week.
And that's the important thing. Durham can get themselves into that top 4 spot. It means other people are trying to catch them. And again, another one. Swing and a miss. And no, he hasn't. He's nicked it. And that's it. Game over. A fine edge from Finch. Dorcius with the wicket. Robinson with the catch. And the Worcester Rapids finish 4 balls into the 19th over. And a score of 168. After 19.4 overs. Finch goes for 4. Durham win this game relatively comfortably. An excellent start to the power play. Continued throughout for a good partnership from Robinson and Turner in the middle, and a brilliant ending to the first innings from Baz Deleda and Michael Jones. Got them up to 190. And then a positive start for the Worcester Rapids. D'Oliveira and Ali had a good partnership. Cobb came in and continued it on. But Nathan Souther, as he's done many times in this game, many times in the Blast, came on, slowed everything down, got a couple of wickets, and really put on the squeeze. And Durham, well, they win the game by 22 runs. Neil Colleen, your thoughts on what has been an excellent victory for the Durham?
Yeah, I think it's been an excellent performance and a very well-followed plan. We said at the start of the game that we thought batting first and putting them under pressure and defending on a pitch which we weren't sure about the bounce, and we thought spin would play a big part. And Durham have executed that plan really well. They put a score on the board which was above par for this pitch, and they've defended it excellently.
On a night that Durham probably leapfrog Leicester and possibly Northampton, depending on their results, and go into the top four, possibly joint second. Durham have beaten the Worcester Rapids by 22 runs. And let's get back to the Daffabet studio with Simon Brown, Gordon Mutchell and Andy Sixsmith.
Yeah, thanks, Harmy. 3 wins on the spin for Durham into the top 4 in the North Group, and no need for paramedics, gents, tonight. Not a bad night at the office for Durham.
No, that's it. Absolutely brilliant performance. I think we probably blew away a few cobwebs there after those 2 championship games. But it's a lot easier sitting here when we win easy than it is when we're just thinking what's going to happen with that last ball.
I was going to say, Chubby, which one would you prefer? A nice stroll like we've had tonight, or that epic against Yorkshire?
If I was playing, I'd prefer the nice stroll. But sitting watching, I prefer the nail biter. I just think Durham are playing really well in this format now.
Yeah.
They started the innings really well when we were batting. There was a little bit of a lull in the middle when the spinners bowled well for the Rapids, but we kept the scoreboard ticking over. Some great striking towards the end to get us up to a score. I think a few of us said at the start of it they thought 160 might be a winning score. So I think once we got up to sort of 190, that was just going to be a little bit stretched too far.
It's been said before, hasn't it? You know, Durham's record in T20s isn't great over the years, but like you say there, Chubby, do you think that Durham are developing into a really, really good white ball team currently?
That's it. I mean, I was lucky enough to come to the Hall of Fame dinner where Killer was introduced, and Ryan Campbell spoke then about how he was disappointed with the white ball form last year. They've made a couple of signings in Ackerman and Parkinson, and like I said at the start, I think they've got real clear roles. Everyone knows what their role is in the team. And they're just beginning to string some performances together after a little bit of a slow start. And as I say, we're sat nicely in that table now.
I was going to say, it was a slow start to the season, but now, I mean, we talk about 3 wins on the spin. The momentum is really behind Durham, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And I think Mutchie just made a really good point there, that the players know what their role is now, and they're executing really well. I like a lot of the changes that the captain made in the field. I like the fact that they didn't let the batsmen see the same bowler for too long. You know, it wasn't frightened to take somebody off after 1 over and get somebody else on. Move the bowlers round to the ball from different ends. I've just been really impressed with what I've seen from Durham over the last 2 games.
So looking at the game itself, was there any worries? Because obviously Durham were 54 for 2 off the power play. Worcestershire got the 54 for 1. Was there any concerns whatsoever?
I thought that the wicket Ben Rain got of Ali, who was a thorn in our side for that championship game, with a beauty that's nipped back through the gate, and you saw the shock in his face as he's sort of lining them up well. He sort of had the game where he wanted it really, and that was the turning point for me. I thought that little bit of magic from Ben Rain again was absolutely fantastic. I thought Baz Deleda bowled really well, and like Chubby's just said there, I think Alex Lees has got it spot on more often than not. I don't know whether there was a decision to play maybe Baz Deleda or Paul Coughlin today, but they definitely picked the right guy, because his partnership at the end there and the way he's bowled in the middle and at the end, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, some really, really good bowling. But you know, you mentioned one name there, Mutchie. I mean, when you need a big wicket, who you're going to call it ain't Ghostbusters, it's Ben Rain, isn't it? Like every single time.
He's just delivered consistently, hasn't he, in this competition? He knows exactly, talking about the game plan, he knows exactly how he's going to bowl. He mixes his pace up. He doesn't do an awful lot wrong. You very rarely see and think, oh, Ben's not had a great game today. He nearly always contributes really well.
Absolutely, and like you said, Baz Deleda, Mutchie, I mean, he's come back, not just his bowling, but his catching as well. It's hat-trick of wins for Durham, it's hat-trick of catches for Baz tonight.
That's it, he's rock solid under those high balls. Again, just a 3-dimensional cricketer, which you've probably got to be nowadays, isn't it? And we've praised Durham's fielding in the past. They probably weren't at the best tonight, but as I say, just blown them cobwebs off with a busy week of 2020 cricket coming up.
And what did you think about towards the end as well, Chubb? Because they seemed just so effortless towards the end. Obviously, if the Rapids are chasing the game, naturally they have to chase the boundaries. But Durham closed that out with consummate ease.
Yeah, they did. But I think, again, it goes back to that thing about having a plan and knowing what you're going to do. Yeah. Muchie and I spoke about this at half-time. Winning becomes a habit and losing becomes a habit. When I was still playing here, and Durham were really an evolving team, we got ourselves into some quite good positions and managed to lose. And it took a while before we learned how to win games. Durham now just look like they know how to win games.
And winning's becoming a habit. Getting into the top 4 is hopefully going to become a habit as well. Into the top 4 tonight. Does that make Durham arguably one of the favourites to qualify? I mean, there's a lot of cricket left to play, but
I think this competition, you can never get too comfortable, can you? Because you're only one performance away from maybe losing 2 in a row. But as we stand now, we're on a good roll. We talked about making this a fortress. We kept the Vikings out. We've kept the Rapids out. Fingers crossed we can keep going in this competition.
The lads mentioned it in commentary, didn't they, as well? But you prefer to be chased in this competition rather than too chased, wouldn't you, Chubby, or not?
Always. Always try and get your nose in front and try and stay there.
Yeah, I mean it's looking tight. Obviously in the North Group, we talked about it pre-match how tight it was. There's some big hitters up there, obviously with Notts, with Lancashire as well, Birmingham Bears naturally too. It's gonna go pretty much right to the wire, whatever happens, isn't it? The North Group, Muchie?
Yeah, I think as you say, it is still very tight, and we're in a good position. The weather's probably played us a couple of favours tonight. Hopefully, I think there's a bit of weather around this week. Hopefully, we get some more games in, and come Friday, we've got another two wins to talk about.
Yeah. I have to say, mentioning the word tight, I'm surprised you've managed to stay in your t-shirt tonight. To be honest, I worried about you with the pitch report, mate. Let alone now.
Well, I had to keep my arms crossed to keep the wind from blowing up. I was very kind and let my mate Neil Killeen have the larger one. But hopefully we can get some new t-shirts as well for Friday.
Absolutely, very magnanimous of you, certainly. Muchie's mentioned there, Chubby. Big couple of games on the road coming up. Obviously, it's Northants on Sunday. Then it's a trip to Headingley to face Yorkshire. If we can get 4 points, I mean, it's optimistic, but if we can get 4 points from those 2 trips, sets us up beautifully for next Friday, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and there's no reason why not. Like you say, Durham are playing some really, really good cricket right now. If I was the opposition, I would probably be the team that I didn't want to play right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the way you got to look at it. You got to go into these games thinking these guys probably don't want to play against us right now.
Absolutely. Well, that's it, lads. Easy as that. Feet up. Take a rest. Come back here in 7 days. Thank you very much for your time. Gordon Mitchell, Simon Brown, and of course, thank you to our commentary team as well, Rob Rush, Neil Killeen, and Steve Harmison. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, England might be struggling to score in the European Football Championships, but no worries here at the Seat Unique Riverside. It's a hat-trick of T20 wins for Durham. It's onwards to Northants on Sunday. From all of us here on Durham Live, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.